Right field, a base hit by a diving second baseman Munenori Kawasaki, picked up by the right fielder Nolan Reimold. So Jennings reaches for Ben Zobrist.
Right fielder, number 18, Ben Zobrist.
Now, just interesting again, Jared, that's a changeup from Mark Burley, but the infielder still shifted, playing Jennings to pull. Kawasaki was playing up the middle because of the changeup. You expect to get him out front of that pitch. Instead, Desmond Jennings does a nice job letting that ball travel. It's on the outer part of the plate, shoots it into right field past that shift.
Here is the right-hand hitting, in this case, switch hitter Ben Zobrist. He takes strike one from Mark in the bottom of the first inning. No score. Speaking of injuries, too, weren't you shocked to read that the Angels left-hander C.J. Wilson, the Blue Jays just saw him on Sunday on the DL now with a sprained right ankle?
Unbelievable. The list just continues. We heard Tanaka. I did not notice anything from C.J. Wilson when he pitched against the Blue Jays in Anaheim.
No, not a clue at all. The pitch is inside. What a blow to the Angels, and here's so much momentum. So a lot going on the injury front, no question about that. Zobrist, a career .333 hitter off Burley, 6 for 18. Mark is inside with his next delivery. 2 balls and 1 strike.
And interesting, you talked about Yadier Molina, and I touched on the fact that a lot of players are hurting their fingers. We've seen dislocated fingers and thumbs this year from diving head first. And the notion has been, why aren't guys sliding feet first anymore? Yadier Molina did just that at third base.
Zobrist lines one to right field. Reimold in, has to take it on a hop. That's another base hit. Up to second, Jennings. And this bottom of the first inning, quite the contrast to the top of the first when 3 Blue Jays struck out. Here the first 2 Rays, base hits to right.
Left fielder, number 5, Brandon Geyer.
Just a nice piece of hitting there by Ben Zobrist. They know with the soft-throwing left-hander Mark Burley on the mound, we've seen 2 approaches already, both Jennings and Zobrist really letting that ball travel, not trying to pull the ball. That's playing right into the hand of Burley. They're letting the ball travel and staying up the middle the other way. 2 hard hit balls.
So Brandon Geyer comes up here, a good bunter. Joe Madden has used him 5 times for sacrifice bunts. And he turns to bunt and bunts it up along third. Fielded by the lefty Burley. Look at third. Does not go there. And then doesn't go to first. And the bases are loaded. They're going to score that a base hit. But I think Mark Burley would tell you that was my bad.
I'm not sure why Mark didn't throw the baseball. He came off and fielded his position perfectly. He did everything right. His first look was to third base. Realized he didn't have a play. If he spins and throws to first base, he gets Geyer. He just didn't throw the ball.
And for me, Joe, and I think Mark would tell you, if he in one motion throws to third, he's going to get Jennings.
Well, as a left-hander coming off the mound, he is facing that for his throwing arm towards third base. But even once he looked off there, he had time to go to first. He chose not to throw the ball.
3 straight hits to batter Evan Longoria. Swing and a miss, strike 1. So Burley's in a fix here right off the get-go here. Bottom of the first inning, no score. Longoria comes up here, 11 home runs to lead the Rays. They've hit just 76. And he has 42 runs batted in. Second to James Loney's 44. There's a high fly ball into right center field, tagging Jennings. Coming on Reimold, the right fielder, settles under it, makes the catch. The throw goes to third, so Jennings in to score. The throw cut by Reyes, and the Rays get the game's first run, have runners at first and third.
Well, Nolan Reimold got himself in a position to come up throwing. It looked like we'd see a play at home plate, but Reimold opted to go to third, thinking he did not have a shot at the speedy Jennings going home. He came up, made a perfect throw to his cutoff man, Jose Reyes. I think Jose had a shot at first base once he cut that ball with Brandon Geyer off of first base.
Well, as it stands right now, that's the first out, but a run in, and Longoria with his 43rd run batted in. Longoria is just such a good overall player, steady for Longoria. That's his 4th sacrifice fly. The batter now is the left-hand hitting James Loney. Here's your RBI leader with 44, as we mentioned. Burley's low and outside, ball 1.
Reimold came up and made a perfect throw. You always want to see your outfitters hit that cutoff man just to make the ball cuttable. If not, maybe he throws a one-hopper to third base. There was not going to be a play there. Reyes did the right thing by cutting the ball. I think he had Geyer at first, and he didn't throw it.
There's a throw over to first base. And just a quick glance over there, I didn't see anybody there. That might have been the issue with Jose Bautista, new to the position. There was nobody at the bag.
He could have been lined up for the cut home, but I think once the throw was going, I'd like to see that play again.
I think that's exactly what happened, Joe. He was lined up for the cut at home and then stayed put because when Reyes looked at first base, the base was vacant. So as it is now, you got Zobrist at third. At first is Geyer. And Burley here set to James Loney, the left-handed hitter. The 1-0 pitch. That's flared on the ground to short. Taken at the bag by Reyes. Step on it 1. Back to first. Call it 2. And the inning-ending double play. And Mark Burley's probably saying to himself, if I field that bunted ball, which is scored a hit and throw it to third, I'm going to get a force out, if not an out at first base. So Mark probably a little disappointed at himself right there. And that doesn't happen often with the old pro. We go to the second inning. Great to have you with us. Settle in. It's the Blue Jays and Rays, and the Rays have the lead 1-0. Brought to you by Home Hardware. This is the Sportsnet Radio Network.
MLB.com and keep listening to the games on Sportsnet 590 The Fan.
Double plays are a pitcher's best friend, and Schneider's and Bellagio are your taste buds' best friend. Savor the dog days of summer where Schneider's hot dogs or sausages served on fresh Bellagio buns. At the ballpark or on your barbecue, make the most of your summer. 1-0 Rays. We go to the Blue Jays' second inning. First baseman Jose Bautista up against the 25-year-old right-hander Chris Archer, who struck out the side in the first. He misses outside, ball 1.
Just noting that first pitch right there from Archer again, Jerry. Jose Molina set up inside. Very interesting, the approach from the Rays tonight.
And the next pitch, that's in for a strike. Jose hitting .292. On the trip, just 5 for 28. Blue Jays need his bat there. RBIs, home runs. Blue Jays 1-6 on the trip. The pitch is inside. And now without Edwin Encarnacion, your protection, quote, end quote, is on deck Deanna Navarro, and he's hit well, but he's not the protection Edwin provides.
No, he sure isn't, and not too many people are. That's a very missed bat with Edwin on that disabled list.
Shift on, 3 infielders to the left of second. Bautista takes a strike on the outside corner. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Just an outstanding pitch right there from Archer. If you can throw a slider behind in the count 2-1 like that when you're running a fastball up there 95, 97 miles per hour, that's going to be tough to hit.
Jose takes it wide, 3-2. Jose just 1 for 11 in his career against Chris Archer. Navarro to follow, as we mentioned, and then Nolan Reimold. Target by Molina, full count pitch. Strike 3 called. Bautista started toward first, and with that, Archer opens the game with 4 straight strikeouts.
Catcher, number 30, Deanna Navarro.
That's the 2-seam fastball from Archer. It's got that downward action, downward movement. Jose Molina does a nice job picking that ball up, giving home plate umpire Todd Teichner a good look.
That's a great framing of a pitch, too, by Molina. He's one of the best in the game. We talk about his brother Yadier, who's probably the best catcher in the game. And Molina's the oldest active catcher. There is strike 1, and you see what you get with experience.
And he got that pitch. It looked like it was at the bottom of the zone, and Molina got the call.
1-0 Rays. Blue Jays looking to put a ball in play here. 4 straight Ks. Navarro is catching here tonight. So Archer goes into his wind. Here he comes. Ball slapped to left field. Coming in for Brandon Geyer. He's there. Makes the catch. 2 down. On that Sportsnet out-of-town scoreboard, games we'll be covering for you here tonight. In the bottom of the first inning, the Yankees are in Baltimore. No score. The Orioles beat the Washington Nationals 4-3 yesterday. The Orioles now have won 8 of the last 10 games. They've forged out into a 3-game lead in the East over the Blue Jays, 4 up on the Yankees. These Rays now a decimal point ahead of the last place Red Sox, but both those teams 9.5 back. There's a swing and a foul back by Nolan Reimold. Boston's at Houston later tonight. Bottom of the first inning, the Reds have scored. They lead Pittsburgh 1-0. Later, Detroit and Kansas City. And a final today from Wrigley Field. The Cubs edge Atlanta 5-4. For all the scores, go to sportsnet590.ca. Pitch to Reimold. Half swing, and he goes around. No balls and 2 strikes. Chris Archer's got it working.
He sure does. He's got that slider complementing the fastball. And as I said, when the fastball is 95 to 97, you can't look for another pitch and still hit the fastball. So you've got to sit on one of those pitches. Now with 2 strikes, you just got to battle.
And the pitch on the way. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. The inning is over. 6 up and 6 down. 5 strikeouts for Archer. Bottom of the second we go. Rays 1, Blue Jays nothing. Brought to you by Home Hardware. This is the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Out of here!
Don't miss a minute of Blue Jays baseball on the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Fans, be sure and play the VTech Bottom of the Ninth Trivia Challenge for your chance to win weekly VTech packs, plus a trip to next year's spring training in Dunedin, Florida. Enter and play on your smartphone or online at vtechtrivia.com for your chance to win. The Rays with a sacrifice fly off the bat of Evan Longoria in the bottom of the first, lead at 1-0. Mark Burley here in the second to face Sean Rodriguez. Right-handed hitting Rays DH takes strike 1. Yunel Escobar just activated. He's on deck to the right, and then Jose Molina. Burley's inside. When you think about Longoria and that sacrifice fly, most RBIs against the Blue Jays since the 2008 season began, that would be Longoria with now 73. Pitches fouled off to the left.
Good hitters find a way to cash in, and Evan Longoria is certainly in that category, not only against the Blue Jays, but he finds a way to fight off a pitch right there to get it just deep enough in the outfield for that sacrifice fly.
Rodriguez swings and he misses. Burley struck him out. 1 down. Mark with his first.
Shortstop, number 11, Yunel Escobar.
This will be an interesting weekend for Yunel Escobar and the Rays. The Rays weren't going all that well, and neither was Escobar when he got hurt. Went on the disabled list with a sore right shoulder and missed the last 15 games. What'd the Rays do? They won 11 of 15 coming into this game here tonight. Pitch to Yunel is inside. Ben Zobrist, a super utility starter, he played at shortstop in the interim. Logan Forsythe played second, and they were outstanding defensively and at the plate. There's a fly ball hit into shallow center field. Coming on quickly is Rasmus. He runs it down. 2 down. This is always one of those dilemmas for a manager. What do you do when your starter comes back? But in the interim, you've done very, very, very well without him.
It's a very difficult decision for Joe Madden. What do you do with your lineup? And I'm sure his thinking is, Escobar's my shortstop. When he's healthy, he goes back to shortstop. But you certainly get a feel and a vibe, especially when you're playing winning baseball, that when a guy's away, it's almost like you want to keep that thing rolling. But see, Joe Madden is going right back to Escobar at the shortstop position.
Here's Jose Molina. Right-hand hitter takes strike 1. This goes back to last year when the Blue Jays put together an 11-game winning streak. And guess what? It was without Jose Reyes. He was on the DL. Munenori Kawasaki played all those 11 games. Pitches fouled off to the right. Now, it's only right that Reyes would come back and take that position. Munenori later was sent out to AAA Buffalo. And the Blue Jays went 7-19 over the next 26 games.
It's very interesting how it pans out for Joe Madden.
The pitch is low.
As he talked about today, it's given some other players opportunities. And Logan Forsythe, Brendan Guyer, Kevin Kiermaier's really stepped up. The only reason Kiermaier's not in the outfield today is because he said with Chris Archer pitching, he doesn't necessarily need him against the left-handed bat.
Molina takes inside.
Against the left-handed pitcher, Burley. Now against a righty, he will be in the outfield. For example, when Odorizzi is on the mound, he will, because he's more of a fly ball pitcher and wants to use his outfield abilities.
Jose hits one hard and foul past first base coach George Hendrick, and George moved pretty well as a major league player for years. He didn't move too well there as a major league first base coach.
He better stay back there a little bit.
The first base umpire, Mike Everett, saying, are you okay? Your hip's okay? Your knee's all right? He hobbled to get out of the way of that. Now he's moving down the right field line as we speak. There's a ground ball shot through the left-hand side. Molina with a 2-out hit here in the Rays' second inning as they lead at 1-0.
Second baseman, number 10, Logan Forsythe.
And look at Hendrick right there with Molina. You can bet George is saying, now you hit one through the left side. You almost took my head off.
Use the left side of the field.
Here's Logan Forsythe. Played a lot of second base, as we said, with Zobrist at short. He's hitting in the 9th spot, right-handed hitter. And Burley's in low, ball 1. Forsythe hitting overall .236. Juan Francisco guards at third baseline. Jose Bautista behind Molina at first. Burley's pitch hit down the right field line, slicing, dropping fair. That's a base hit. That goes toward the corner. Reimold picks it up. Nolan throws it back to Kawasaki, and the runners hold at second and third. A double the other way for Forsythe.
Donate $600 for Big Soccer Children, bringing the season total of donated $96,000.
Forsythe just shot that pitch right down the right field line. Good thing for the Blue Jays, it's Jose Molina that was on first base. Jose's just thinking going first to third right there. Most runners would be thinking of scoring. Forsythe took that fastball from Burley and shot it. You can really see that opposite field approach for many of the Rays hitters.
So Burley's got another challenge here in the second inning. Gave up a run in the first, game's only run. Jennings single on the ground to right to start the game. Here he is again, second time around. Right-handed hitter takes strike 1 on the inside corner. Jennings, a good young hitter and center fielder. 23 doubles, leads the Rays. And he can hit one out. He's got 8 home runs. He's driven in 24. Runners lead at second and third. Back comes Burley. Off-speed pitch. It is low, half swing. He goes on the appeal, says the first base up, Mike Everett. And now it's 0-2. So Burley gets a big leg up here trying to come out of this inning unscored upon. The Rays 20 and 27 at home. That's all. They've had a tough time this year. Number of injuries. The strike 2 pitch, that's low. Rays just activated pitcher Jeremy Hellickson, but earlier this year lost Matt Moore, their fine left-hander. He won 17 games last year, left elbow surgery. Will Myers, rookie of the year, he's out with a broken right wrist. Pitch on the way, fouled off right-hand side. David DeJesus, a hand fracture. Escobar just back. It's amazing. Every team goes through it. The Blue Jays are not the only team.
They are not. And then, the injuries, of course, have been devastating, especially with Laurie and then Edwin, now Adam Lind. But the Tampa Bay Rays have been through it, too, and they've missed some pitchers early in the season. Cobb was out. He's back. But as I said, there's opportunities for others here.
And the 1-2 pitch just inside.
And these Rays will be glad to have Hellickson back as well. And this is a situation where they're on that fence of whether we're going to be sellers or buyers down here. And I think this is a really big weekend. If anything's important to these Rays, this weekend is a huge series.
2-2 pitch fouled off. Well, this is just really as big for the Blue Jays, too, the way they've skidded and gone 1-6 on this trip. They're only 3 back, and yet with all of their losing here in July, 3-6, and just now 3 games over 500, at one time 14 games over, the winner of this series is really going to take a lot of momentum into that second half.
Exactly, and I think it's because of this American League East division where nobody's really taken the bull by the horns and running away with it. It makes decisions difficult.
Burley's inside, 3-2.
The Rays are certainly in a position at 9.5 back where they're not out of it because of what's happening atop the division. The Orioles are pulling away a little bit right now, but far from pulling away. Still a lot of baseball to be played.
Runners at second and third, 2 out, second inning. Rays 1, Blue Jays nothing. Burley trying to keep it that way. Full count pitch fouled off the leg of Jennings, and he goes hobbling on that right foot up the first base line, and he's in some pain.
It's about that today too, and it was just a real tough loss that they let get away.
3-2 pitch outside, ball 4. The bases are loaded for Ben Zobrist.
With the Rays first walk in the game, Apology donates $250 to the Ruth Baker Hall Foundation. The Apologies donated $23,000 to the season. Right fielder, Ben Zobrist.
With 2 outs, Jose Molina single on the ground to left. Logan Forsythe doubled into the right field corner. Now the walk to Jennings. Rays 1, Blue Jays nothing. Burley trying to keep it that way. Zobrist, the switch hitter, batting right-handed. Single to right, first time up. He takes outside, ball 1.
Zobrist a much better right-handed hitter as well. So Mark Burley's got him on his strong side here, so he's got his work cut out for him. And Mark Burley can, with one pitch, put this misery behind him, getting 2 quick outs this inning before loading the bases.
He's in with a strike, 1-1. Burley this season is 2-0 in his 2 starts against the Rays. ERA 1.76. He's pitched very well against them and in his career as well. He's ready. And the pitch on the way. Lifted into right center field. Colby Rasmus from center has a beat out. Nolan Reimold comes over, and Colby says, no, I've got it. He does, and the inning is over. 3 left on. End of 2. Rays 1, Blue Jays nothing. Brought to you by Home Hardware. This is the Sportsnet Radio Network. Don't forget, the Blue Jays have a Tumbler Cup giveaway for you. It's Sunday, July 20th. Blue Jays host the Rangers. That's right after the All-Star break. First 20,000 fans to receive that Blue Jays Tumbler Cup. We give the Blue Jays a call. Online tickets available at BlueJays.com. A Blue Jays Tumbler Cup for you Sunday, July the 20th. Well, Desmond Jennings is going to leave. He got hit on the left knee and hobbled down to first after he was walked. But he's not going to stay in the game. They're going to immediately attend to that knee. So Kevin Kiermaier comes on to finish it up in center field as we go to the 3rd inning. Chris Archer in the Rays leading the Blue Jays, and Mark Burley 1-0. Here is Colby Rasmus. He'll be followed by Dan Johnson and then Juan Francisco, the 7, 8, 9 hitters. There's a line drive into right center field. Base hit for Rasmus. He picked one out to his liking, and the Blue Jays have their first hit.
That's not a bad approach by Colby Rasmus right there. He says, with the way Chris Archer's throwing the ball in these first 2 innings, I'm just going to jump on a first pitch fastball, and that's exactly what he did. You don't want to stay around long enough to see several of those 95 to 97 mile per hour fastballs and then that put away slider.
Well, here comes a special plate appearance here for the Blue Jays for Dan Johnson. Saw him before the game. He comes up here, a little light ripple of applause. He's a designated hitter. He just came up here from Buffalo. Adam Lynn, placed on the 15-day disabled list. Archer ready. And the pitch to Dan. That's inside, ball 1. This is the first time that Dan Johnson has appeared at Tropicana Field since in the bottom of the 9th inning, down by a run to the Yankees, September 28th, final game of the year 2011. He hit a pinch hit home run off Corey Wade to tie that game, sending it to extra innings. There's a foul off to the left. In the 12th, Evan Longoria homer down the left field line, a walk-off home run at midnight. The Red Sox had lost, and the Rays went into the playoffs that year in 2011, won the wild card, and Dan Johnson made it happen. He was down to his last strike, 2 down in the 9th inning when he hit that home run. And if you were here at Tropicana Field, you're always going to remember where it was. There's a pitch inside. Down the right field line, just beyond the foul pole, is a white seat painted among all those blue bleacher seats. First row, just fair, just over the wall. That's where Dan Johnson hit that home run.
And how ironic that Dan Johnson would get called up this year when the Blue Jays are where? Right here at the Trop in St. Petersburg.
First game back. It's been 3 years. The pitch to him is fouled back. Said to him before the game, what'd you think when you hit it? He said, I didn't know if it was going to go foul or not. I was hoping it would stay fair. I went down the line, and then when I saw that it just stayed fair, I couldn't feel the ground under me as I ran around the bases.
That's a good way of describing it. Couldn't feel the ground under me.
It was one of the most historic home runs in Rays history. Probably the biggest one. Pitch is high. I said to Dan, in your career, of all the things you've done well in your career, and he's had a number of pinch hit home runs, where does that rank? He said, Jerry, without a doubt, that's number 1. I said, what'd you keep from the game? He laughed. He said, everything.
I'm guessing that memory is off the charts.
So here he is, Dan Johnson. First at bat as a Blue Jay this year. Archer's pitch. That's just inside, ball 4. What a plate appearance from the experienced Dan Johnson. That's how you coax a walk out of a pitcher who'd struck out 5 over the first 2 innings.
And when you look at Dan Johnson, he's not just a left-handed power bat off the bench. This is a guy that walks almost as much as he strikes out, which is a very good ratio. Anybody that does that the same. And against left-handers is even more tough. So very good addition here, and that could be a good bat. He really showed that play discipline in this at-bat right here against Chris Archer.
So the Rays ahead 1-0 in the third. All of a sudden see the Blue Jays begin to mount the attack. Ninth hitter and third baseman Juan Francisco comes up here on the road trip, 2 for 14. One of those hits a home run. So the young right-hander Archer is set. Rasmus at second, Johnson at first. Juan fouls one off to the right. Just add a postscript to the white seat that's painted down the right field line. If you go further into right center field in about row 2 or 3, it's hard to see now, there's a yellow seat that's painted among all the blue ones. Wade Boggs, years ago, when he had base hit number 3,000 with the Rays, it was a home run, and that's where it landed.
Colored seats a la Fenway Park, right?
Ted Williams, that red seat painted up in the bleachers, and those green seats at Fenway, you're right, the pitch is inside. So Dan Johnson comes back, and was he nervous at the plate? Didn't look like it.
No, very good plate appearance for Johnson. First time back, especially against a tough pitcher like Archer, and we've seen him already with all the strikeouts.
So Francisco here trying to solve Archer, do some damage. And the Archer pitch, that's in there for a strike. Francisco has 14 home runs, but he also has 81 strikeouts. It's pretty much been all or nothing for Juan. When he does put the ball in play, you'll oftentimes see him go the other way to left field, but those strikeouts on off-speed pitches have really hurt him.
Archer came right at him with the first pitch fastball. He fouled it off. He's come back with 2 sliders. The second one was a backdoor slider. Archer starting it off the plate away and just coming back. I got to believe he's getting another one here.
And the 1-2 pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. Off speed it was, and actually Francisco struck himself out. He chased that pitch.
He did, and it's smart. It's a good call by Jose Molina and a great pitch by Archer, because they know with the scouting report on Francisco, you don't need to throw a strike with 2 strikes. You just need to throw that breaking ball off the plate, either down and or away. They did both that, and Juan chased it.
The batter now, Jose Reyes. Rays 1, Blue Jays nothing, but Blue Jays at first and second, 1 out here in the third. Jose struck out on a half swing to begin the game. Switch hitter batting left-handed. He takes it low. It's always fun to go back in the first week of the season and see the personnel changes. And wouldn't you know, the Blue Jays opened here. Lost 9-2 in the opener, March 31st to the Rays. And David Price, he's starting here tomorrow afternoon. Then the Blue Jays won the next 2. And then lost on Thursday, April the 3rd, 7-2. The Rays were able to split that series right down the middle. Unell to the bag, a bluff throw by Archer. From that game, April the 3rd, and the Blue Jays used 3 pitchers, there are only 4 players here tonight. That's all. Melky Cabrera, Colby Rasmus, Jose Bautista, and Adam Lind. Excuse me, and Deoner Navarro. Now these are the folks who are not here. Adam Lind, Edwin Encarnacion, Brett Laurie, Meiser Izturis, all on the disabled list. Ryan Goins in AAA Buffalo. He started at shortstop that game. And all 3 pitchers, Brandon Morrow on the DL, Esmil Rogers in AAA Buffalo, and Jeremy Jeffress with the Milwaukee Brewers organization. The pitch misses, and it's now 2 balls and no strikes. Can you believe that?
No, it's really hard to fathom when you just bring that to our attention, Jerry, because when you look at a roster, you know that you're going to go through some injuries throughout the course of a season. You're going to have to go down to AAA and bring some bodies up. But to mention that few players, the number of players that you just mentioned that are still here.
That's it, just 4. It's to Reyes. A strike on the outside corner. Now, in some regards, it says a lot about the depth, but the depth has been worn down because you get exposed after a while, and the Blue Jays just continue to have injuries upon injuries.
It's so difficult to continue to replace your starting players, and with all these disabled list stints, you can continue to count on these utility type players to fill in, and they're doing an admirable job, but it's tough to do that for a long time.
Reyes lines one into left field. That's a base hit taken on a hop by Geyer. He holds the runner at third, Rasmus, with a throw to the plate that's cut. And the Blue Jays have the bases loaded for Munenori Kawasaki.
Second baseman, Munenori Kawasaki.
So give Reyes a 7-game hitting streak, and on this road trip, he's 11 for 33. Well, this is where the Blue Jays need now a couple of big base hits. The Blue Jays on this road trip are 1-6. Collectively, they've hit just 236. And with runners in scoring position, 111.
Yeah, that's just has to change, and that's certainly attributed to the mounting losses. You have to come up with a big hit at a big time. Right now, the Blue Jays looking for that from Kawasaki.
1-0 Rays. Blue Jays third inning. Bases loaded. 1 out. Kawasaki rips a ground ball base hit into right field. Rasmus scores. Held at third base is the runner Johnson. The Blue Jays are in flight, and they have tied the Rays 1-1 here in the third inning. Kawasaki with an RBI hit to right.
There's the big hit the Jays were looking for. Kawasaki again jumps on the first pitch. A fastball. Hitters have to realize when you're facing a tough pitcher, the deeper you go into that count, usually the more difficult the at-bat becomes. You want to get to the good pitchers early, especially guys that have devastating stuff like that of Archer.
Molina goes to the mound to talk to Chris. So Archer, first 6 hitters, 5 strikeouts, and a line out to left by Navarro. Now, second time around, you got Rasmus heads up the bottom third of the order, a base hit, the walk to Johnson, an outstanding look at those pitches that were all borderline. Francisco strikeout now brings up Reyes and Kawasaki, and they chime in with back-to-back hits. Melky up here, he struck out looking in the first. Batting left-handed, the switch hitter fouls one off to the left, and there's another first pitch swing.
Well, Melky's looking to hack right there. It was first pitch slider from Archer, but it was right there. He hung it. It was not his best slider. Melky jumped all over and just fouled it back. But that's what I mean. It's almost like facing a closer. When a closer usually comes in, it's usually a hard thrower with a good secondary pitch, like a split finger or a slider. The deeper you go, or if you get 2 strikes, it becomes a difficult at-bat.
Johnson down from third, bases loaded, pitch loop foul off to the left. So no balls and 2 strikes. Luis Rivera goes up to talk to Johnson at third base. Had a great visit with Luis. Yesterday was an off day, and where was he? He was in Puerto Rico, in Cedra, where he grew up, and they dedicated a high school field and named it after him, Luis Papa Rivera Stadium. Oh, it was so nice. He said he had a great day in Puerto Rico. The pitch is inside. I said, what was it like? He said, well, it's a high school field that's been there 5 years. It's beautiful. And when they brought me to it, when you start to come into the stadium, there's a big picture of me, which it really moved me. And then when you walk in, you see in center field, Luis Papa Rivera Stadium. Pretty nice. The pitch hit on the ground up the middle. The second baseman backhands it, bobbles it. It's dropped eventually by Forsythe. Coming in to score is Johnson. The bases remain loaded. An infield hit, and the Blue Jays go out in front 2-1.
Well, Logan Forsythe did a nice job ranging up the middle to backhand this ball on the run. He did, but as he tried to transfer it to his throwing hand and give that flip to Escobar at second base, that's when he dropped the baseball.
Now, pitching coach Jim Hickey to the mound. Luis, just to finish that story, he graduated from that high school in Cedra in 1981 and was the first major leaguer ever to come out of Cedra, Puerto Rico. And that's why they're going back now, saying, we appreciate you and the example you set for everybody else, and now we're naming this stadium after you.
I asked Luis, I said, how come you're the first one? That's pretty nice. It's what an honor to be the first major leaguer. He says, Joe, because I'm the oldest guy around. I was the first one to get to the major leagues.
And they don't come any sweeter than Luis.
So sincere. Very, very honest young guy. We call him a young guy, but what a great honor back in his hometown.
Joe, for me, everybody's a young guy.
First baseman, Jose Bautista.
So Jose Reyes is at third. Munenori Kawasaki's at second. He singled in a run to tie it up at 1. Melky's at first. He just singled infield to give the Blue Jays the lead. And here's Bautista, struck out looking in the second. We're in the third inning. Jose takes high and in, ball 1. So here with 1 out, this is a situation, too, looking for a possible out or fly ball to get the runner home from third with less than 2 outs. The infield is back. Now they're looking for a double play, but Jose's got the whole right side of the infield to shoot through should he get a pitch away and take it to right. He tries to go that way, and he fouls it off to the right.
This is the type of situation that Jose has done that, where he'll see the whole right side of the infield open. Second baseman Logan Forsythe is on the shortstop side of the second base bag. So besides James Loney playing way off the line at first, there's a pretty open-sided infield there. He can do that, and he's done it before, where he'll just keep his hands inside just to try to shoot something through the right side into right field.
Archer ready. The 1-1 pitch slapped down the right side. That's foul. That'll arc over the Rays bullpen.
And based on those last two swings, both of those foul balls, you can see Bautista, he is doing exactly that, trying to shoot something to the right side.
The Rays with a run in the first inning. Evan Longoria's sacrifice fly with the bases loaded and nobody out produced the only run. Kudos to Mark Burley to hold it to 1. And now the Rays see the Blue Jays with the bases loaded score a couple. The stretch. Runners lead. And the 1-2 pitch hit the right field. Back to get it goes Zobrist, tagging Reyes. There's the catch. Here comes Reyes. He's going to score. On the way to third base scoots Kawasaki. And the Blue Jays go out in front 3-1 with a sacrifice fly of their own.
Just a great at-bat right there by Bautista. Again, he tried to stay inside that baseball, and the reason that's such a good approach against Archer in this situation is, especially once he got to 2 strikes, that's a good approach to hitting anyway. What that allows you to do is keeping those hands in. It keeps that bat on plane in the strike zone a long time through the hitting zone, especially with Archer throwing in that mid-90s with that devastating slider. Jose's able to elevate this ball and get it deep enough into right field to score the run.
For Jose, 53rd RBI, 4th sacrifice fly. And that leads all the Blue Jays. And you'd expect that from Jose, an experienced hitter, RBI producer. And the batter now, Deanna Navarre, lined out the left, first time up. Blue Jays at first and third. 2 outs here in a 3-run third inning. Ground ball hit over the mound toward the second base side. The shortstop cuts in front. Unell throws to first in time. The inning is over. And the Blue Jays will tally 3. Lead 2. We go to the bottom of the third inning. Mark Burley's got a 3-1 lead here in St. Pete. Brought to you by Home Hardware. This is the Sportsnet Radio Network. As we go to the bottom of the third inning, the Tampa Bay Rays now trail the Blue Jays 3-1. Brandon Guyer, Evan Longoria, and James Loney coming up. Longoria's sacrifice fly, his first plate appearance, and the Rays leader in home runs. The home run leaders update. And Joe, if you're Mark Burley, you want to make sure that you retire Guyer here with the home run leader coming up in Longoria.
Oh, you sure do, and especially when your team puts a 3 spot up on that scoreboard for you. It's time for Mark Burley to start retiring some of these Rays.
There's strike 1 to the right-hand hitting Guyer. Brandon with a bunt up along third that Mark Burley would like to have back. He fielded it. For whatever reason, didn't throw to third. Then he looked at first, didn't throw there either, and it cost him a base hit. Ground ball up the middle, and Guyer is 2 for 2 as he threads the needle right up through the middle of the diamond into center field.
Third baseman, Evan Longoria.
And who did we just mention as the home run leader? This is what can hurt you with the Rays, and Longoria's 73rd run batted in against the Blue Jays since the beginning of 2008, the most for any hitter against Blue Jays pitching.
And I'll tell you, the most frustrated person on that field right now is Mark Burley for not getting that leadoff batter of the inning.
There's a strike call to Longoria.
Pitchers need to do it for themselves, but also for their team. They know that the momentum is totally in their favor by scoring 3 runs there in the top of the third. A pitcher's job now is to put out a shutdown inning against your opponent, really keep that momentum in your favor.
Infield double play depth, swing and a foul back by Evan. He had a big cut there, 0-2. Longoria in his career, a .324 hitter against Burley, 11 for 34. And the sacrifice fly. Had a grand slam off him last year in May right here in Mark's first year as a Blue Jay. Pitches outside, but that was a memorable game. Joe, you weren't here. Jack Morris was with us. Yes, Mark gave up a grand slam, and all of a sudden, in about the 4th inning, the Rays were ahead 7-0. And Burley retired them over the next 3 innings. Gave the Blue Jays a chance to win it. There's a swing and a miss. He struck him out. 1 down. And lo and behold, down 7-6 in the top of the 9th inning, and Burley held them in there. So Burley had given up 6 runs, and all in that 3rd or 4th inning there was highlighted by Longoria's grand slam. J.P. Arancibia came off the bench with a man on, 2 outs, hit a grand slam, hit a pinch hit 2-run home run down to his last strike, and the Blue Jays won that game 8-7.
That's so.
James Loney takes inside ball 1. That was one of the best pitched games Burley said he had pitched, and he gave up 6 runs all in 1 inning. Before you know it, he kept them right in there and just threw zeros at the Rays after that.
And that's what he can do, and that's a real attribute for a pitcher that's great to have, because you have to be able to put things behind you.
Blue Jays 3, Rays 1. We're in the bottom of the 3rd inning. The pitch is inside, 2-0.
I think years of pitching 200 innings, which is a real benchmark for a starting pitcher. Well, there's a reason why you do that. Mark Burley knows how to stick around ball games.
Guyer the lead, the strike on the inside corner. And that's 13 consecutive years of not only 200 innings, but fewer than 61 walks. And he's on pace to do that one more time. And if he does, he'll pass the gentleman he's tied with right now, the only 2 to do it in Major League history, Cy Young being the other. There's a high pop-up into shallow center field. Reyes goes out. Kawasaki goes out. It's Reyes calling. He makes the catch. Back to first goes Guyer. 2 down.
Designated hitter, Sean Rodriguez.
And that's the joy of having 2 young pitchers on this staff as well, like Marcus Stroman and Drew Hutchison, to feed off Mark Burley, to learn from him, to talk to him about his experiences. But if there's one thing that those 2 young guys can take from Burley, I think that'd be the best one. Pitch to contact. Let hitters hit the ball. Let your defense work. That's what will keep you around the game long enough. You're going to get beat up some nights. It's going to happen. But if you nitpick and start walking people, that's when you're going to have trouble.
Sean Rodriguez swings and he misses, strike 1. Rodriguez, right-handed hitting DH, struck out back in the 2nd. And when Burley here struck out Longoria, just his 2nd. And the walk to Jennings, that's a surprise too, just his 1st and only 32nd this year, as Mark continues to pile up the innings toward 200. He is outside. So Burley now has worked 123 innings and only 32 walks. And one of the best teammates the Blue Jays have ever put in a uniform. Burley delivers a swing and a miss, strike 2. He's so other directed. He gives of his time. He encourages. He never gets down. He never gives into the situation. And that's what you love about him. He's a first-class guy on and off the field.
He is the same all the time. Whether he goes 8 shutout innings or if he were to go 6 or 7 innings and give up 8 runs, you won't know what happened. And that's what's great about Mark Burley. He understands you have to be like that as a baseball player.
He is in high.
Have to have a short memory, especially if you're a pitcher and you have a horrible start. Those guys have to wait around for 5 more days for the next chance. As a hitter, at least you get to come back in there the next day.
And Burley back. The pitch line down the left field line, but it's hooking fouls. It bounces into the picnic area there. 2-2 on Rodriguez. There's a mural down there behind those benches, and it shows Evan Longoria with his fists up in the air. That was the game that ended, as we said, the 2011 season when Dan Johnson pinch hit a home run in the bottom of the 9th inning to tie the Yankees, allowing Longoria to win it 3 innings later. There's a high pop-up at short. Reyes is under it, right there on the dirt. And with that, he makes the catch, and the inning is over. So a leadoff single, and that's all. Through 3, Blue Jays 3, Rays 1. Brought to you by Home Hardware. This is the Sportsnet Radio Network. 4th inning here at Tropicana Field. Blue Jays 3, the Rays 1. 8 men came to the plate last inning. 3 scored. 4 had base hits. And the batter now, the only one who did not hit, right-handed hitting right fielder Nolan Reimold on the trip in Anaheim. 4 for 8, including 3 doubles. He struck out off right-hander Chris Archer in the 2nd. There's a swing and a miss, strike 1. Colby Rasmus to follow, and then Dan Johnson. Colby got it started last inning with a single to right center. Shift on, 3 infielders to the left of second base. The pitch is high. That's a surprise when you realize in Anaheim pretty much all of Reimold's hits were to right field, even some of the outs.
And that's where I wonder a lot of times if this data is collected, Jerry, over the past few years, last couple of years anyway, as opposed to more so what's gone on lately, the last couple of weeks to the last month.
Pitch outside, he takes it.
Since Nolan Reimold is just joining the Jays, you'd think they'd be looking at the most recent data and perhaps going off of that, but it looks like the Rays are probably going off old data or data from the last couple of years that does show that Reimold, when hit on the ground, goes to the left side.
2-1, pitch taken outside, ball 3. Archer breezed through the first 2, 6 up, 6 down, 5 strikeouts, and then the storm after the quiet. He looks in. Molina sets the target. And the 3-1 pitch inside almost hit him. Reimold draws a leadoff walk.
Center fielder, Colby Resch.
On that Sportsnet out-of-town scoreboard, the Yankees are in Baltimore, and the Yanks lead the Orioles 2-0. That's in the top of the 4th inning. We mentioned before the Orioles have won 8 out of 10. They have a 3-game lead on the Blue Jays and a 4-game lead on the Yanks. So this is a big series, too, for both the Orioles and the Yankees playing each other. And the Blue Jays here trying to, with a division rival as well, win a series here against Tampa Bay. Rasmus takes it high. Boston is in Houston, no score, just getting started at Minute Maid Park. Cincinnati, bottom of the 3rd inning with a 1-0 lead over Pittsburgh. The Pirates are charging. Look at the Pirates. They're 48-44, and they're in 4th place in the National League Central. What a division that is. Milwaukee by 2 over the Cardinals, 2.5 over the Reds, and the Pirates very much in it, 3.5 back.
The Pirates have come back, though. They were way back earlier this season. Now they're making that little comeback, and the Milwaukee Brewers have lost some ball games, and they're starting to make that Central look much more interesting than it did about a month ago.
And Milwaukee came into Toronto, pretty heady stuff, and they lost 2 in a row. Now they've lost 5 in a row and 9 out of 10. Rasmus pounds one to right field into the corner, sprints Ben Zobrist. He's got room. He's in foul ground. He makes the catch. Tagging is the runner Reimold. The throw to second, the slide. He's in there safely with some heads-up base running.
Designated hitter, Dan Johnson.
That's some outstanding base running right there by Nolan Reimold. That ball's going into the corners, clearly going to stay in play. It wasn't going to be a home run, just maybe slightly into foul territory. But as Zobrist is going to get that ball, Reimold understands that as a right fielder, you're running away from second base to catch that ball. As he catches the ball, his momentum is taking him even further into foul territory. Reimold knows that if he gets a good jump, Zobrist has to spin, turn, and make a perfect throw to second base. That's a great job advancing 90 feet right there.
And the Blue Jays ahead 3-1. You never have enough against the Rays, period, and especially here. And with David Price on deck tomorrow afternoon, now bring up Dan Johnson. Johnson walked and scored in the 3-run 3rd. We're in the 4th. Reimold the lead at second. And the left-hand hitter takes inside, ball 1. Detroit's in Kansas City. Top of the 1st inning, just getting underway. And the Royals are wondering what just happened. Now, we went to Detroit and swept the Tigers in 4, knocked them out of first place, and left there with a 1.5 lead in the Central Division. Well, that was yesterday. Pitch is outside. The Royals come into the game 5.5 behind the Tigers now, as the Tigers have been winning and the Royals have been losing.
Now that ship was righted in Detroit. I think we saw them go for a little bit of a tailspin, but both Scherzer and Verlander got going back on track, and they've played much better baseball.
Johnson takes outside. The Cubs beat Atlanta 5-4. That was at Wrigley Field. So for all the scores, go to sportsnet590.ca. Right here, the score: Blue Jays 3, Rays 1. We're in the 4th inning. Runner second, 1 out. And the Archer pitch in there for a strike. Talked to my friend Eric Nadel today. My counterpart with the Rangers was kidding him about the Rangers and the Blue Jays. And he said, Jerry, quit kidding. The Rangers in the last 5 games lost them all. The pitchers allowed 52 runs. The starters have an ERA over 10 over the last 5 games. There's a high pop-up foul. That's going to head toward the third base dugout and will just get out of play. So Eric left with me this note. He said, we're trying to consider bringing back knuckleball pitcher Charlie Huff.
I'm sure they're ready to pull out all the stops after a few games like that.
Now, this is what can happen. The Rangers, the last 5 years have had a wonderful run. Been to 2 World Series. Unfortunately, lost them both. They today have the worst record in Major League Baseball. That's the tumble they've taken.
Yeah, and they have talked. You talk about the injury bug. They have probably been hit harder than any team in Major League Baseball.
So there you go. Archer set. A look back at second to Reimold. Johnson takes up and in. He's drawn another walk. Look at Dan Johnson. 2 walks here. Coming back from Buffalo.
Another great plate appearance by Johnson. I'm looking at a little bit of a different Chris Archer now. He had so much success in the first couple of innings by being aggressive with the fastball, using the slider to put a couple of hitters away with all those strikeouts that he was racking up. But it seems like almost now, after giving up those 3 runs in the 3rd inning, he's coming out this inning pitching a little more passively, a little more tentatively. A couple more changeups right there. He hadn't thrown many changeups. Johnson saw a couple. There's a 3-2 slider. So again, not trusting that good 94, 95, even up to 97 mile-per-hour fastball with sink. He's got to trust that pitch.
So Jim Hickey, a quick visit to the mound. Just a footnote to the Rangers. Not only did they lose those 5, took it right on the chin, they've lost 19 of the last 22. So don't tell John Gibbons about the woes he's gone through. The Blue Jays are very happy to be only 3 games back with the hit they've taken here the last 3 weeks.
No, that's right. Fans get caught up with their own team, but when you look around the league and look at the numbers, look at the stats, look at the losing streaks, the injuries, there are several other teams much worse off than these Blue Jays right now.
Juan Francisco up, left-handed hitter. Struck out his first time up. He takes high, ball 1.
There's another first pitch slider. Very interesting. I know it's Francisco up, and the game plan is to go off speed against him, but I think maybe that was the situation to perhaps trust that 2-seam fastball. It's got movement, and it's in the mid-90s. I think you got to trust it.
Infield looking for the double play ground ball, and there is a ground ball over the mound towards second, fielded by Forsythe. 1 play, that's the first. He does get Francisco. The runners move up. And that right there should tell Juan that, Juan, good things happen when you hit the ball and put it in play. You don't have to hit a home run, but look what he did. He advanced 2 runners there with that top ground ball.
Yeah, it's not exactly what he wanted to accomplish, but he's able to move the runners up. Jose Reyes coming up in a big situation now with 2 outs. Try to cash in a run.
Well, there's a report on Desmond Jennings. Hit on the left knee, a bruised left knee. They've already taken x-rays. They were negative. Good sign for the Rays. Reyes up here looking for a 2-out hit. He hits a little foul third base side, moving over the third baseman. He can't get there. Hits in front of the dugout.
Were we just talking about injuries?
The whole game.
It's unbelievable. I mean, we could talk around the league about injuries, but sure enough, as we're talking, we've had Ryan Hannigan was starting catching for the Rays today. He was scratched. Desmond Jennings fouls the ball off his knee. He's out of the game. Kevin Kiermaier's in center field. And now the Blue Jays, Nolan Reimold. And we still don't know what happened advancing 90 feet from second to third base.
No, you wouldn't think that would be that difficult to do. There was no slide. There was no collision. There was nothing.
There was no real play. Francisco just chopped the ball to the right side. To me, it was just a simple jog over to third base unless something happened earlier.
Reyes tops the ground ball off his leg, and that smarts a little bit. We do know this, that Reimold has had 2 surgeries for bulging discs in the neck area. And I do believe as well his vertebrae has given him some difficulties over time and a little tricky. It doesn't take too much, to use the word you just described, tweak a back muscle.
Something, yeah. He was certainly walking gingerly. When I say gingerly, there looked like a slight limp. It could have been leg related. It could have been lower back. We will see.
The scoreboard in right center field, and they bring cowbells here, say more cowbell. Archer set. Runners lead, second and third. Strike 2 pitch is high. So I suggest you go to Sokolov's areyouhurt.ca if you want a who's who of Major League Baseball players.
The list is piling up.
They're one of our fine sponsors, and little did they know they would be getting this much attention. The stretch. And the 1-2 pitch. Drilled to right field. Coming on the right fielder. Reaching down. Did he make a catch? No, it popped out of his glove. Then Zobrist picks it up. Coming in to score, Mastriani. Right behind him, Johnson. To first base goes Reyes with a 2-run single. And the Blue Jays forge out in front 5-1 here in the 4th. A
Number
great
66.
try by Zobrist.
Well, Zobrist's not normally a right fielder, but he did everything right. He got a good jump on this ball. It was a line drive. It looked like as he came in, it looked like it was probably a short hop. He may have grabbed it. We won't know. There's probably going to be a replay. Looked to me like a short hop, but it popped out of his glove as he slides forward, comes toppling over. But another hard hit ball by Jose Reyes and a huge 2-out hit for the Blue Jays.
And that's what the Blue Jays have needed, Joe, for such a long time. 2-out RBI hits.
Correction, 2 RBIs.
So Kawasaki 1 for 2. He singled home run his last time up. That was last inning in the third when the Blue Jays scored 3. The pitch is high. Archer's pitched 2 games. The first game, 6 up and 6 down, 5 strikeouts. He had a 1-0 lead. A sacrifice fly by Longoria in the bottom of the first off Mark Burley. But in his second game, he's seen the Blue Jays rally for 3 runs on 4 hits in the third, and now rally for 2 more runs, aided and abetted by his 2 walks here in the fourth. There's a swing and a miss. And really, Archer has only himself to blame when you look at the walks. This is the first hit he's allowed in the inning.
Yeah, a couple walks. Of course, we know those usually come back to haunt you, and it was the leadoff walk in the inning to Nolan Reimold that got this ball rolling.
Reyes has easily extended his hitting streak to 7 games. So has Melky Cabrera. He's on deck with an RBI infield hit in the 3-run third. Reyes gets the lead. Good quickness. Archer looks him over. Comes back to his hitter. And he's in there with a strike call. Backpedaling was Kawasaki. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes. For all the energy and all the loquaciousness of Munenori Kawasaki, I don't believe I've ever seen him argue with an umpire. That's the Japanese way, too. You don't do that.
Very respectful.
Archer set. There goes Reyes. 1-2 pitch. Hit on the ground to third. Foul. Foul ball, and Reyes will come back, make a U-turn, and head back to first.
Well, it was a good spot for Jose Reyes to try a stolen base right there. Attempt 1-2 count, anticipating that put-away slider from Archer. He may even do it again right here. We'll see if Archer maybe holds that ball a little longer in his stretch position or perhaps throws over, but perfect timing for Reyes to try to swipe that bag.
So Reyes gets his lead, 17 of 18 this year, pilfering bags, held on by James Loney. Now time called by the plate umpire Todd Titchener.
And Reyes has been smart about him. That's why he's 17 of 18. He's not just running to run, and that's what Tim Leeper has preached all season. He'd rather see him run in situations where there's a high percentage opportunity to be successful.
He does not go. The 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. The inning is over, but a windfall 2. Reyes cashes in 2 walks, but the Blue Jays lose Nolan Reimold to an injury on the bases. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning. It's the Blue Jays 5, the Rays 1. Brought to you by Home Hardware. This is the Sportsnet Radio Network.
The best way to
Of MLB experts. That's weekdays at noon on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and Sportsnet TV. Mark Burley's got a 5-1 lead. We go to the Rays' bottom of the 4th inning. And a first pitch strike to Yunel Escobar. Darren Mastriani had to run for Reimold at third base. When we get a report as to why Nolan had to leave, we'll let you know. So Mastriani's in right, where Reimold was. The pitch is in there for strike 0-2. Colby Rasmus stays in center, Melky in left. Yunel flied out to center first time up, and he takes it inside. Well, Mark is probably pinching himself with a 5-run cushion from his teammates. The pitch is low. It's a 4-run cushion. He's got 5 runs. And Mark in his last 6 starts has seen an average of 2 runs per start. That's why in great part he's 0-5 over those starts, and he's pitched much better than that. The pitch is outside. His ERA is 3.6. That's respectable, especially in the American League. But when he went 10-1 over his first 12 starts, his run support was 5. And his ERA was 2.10. He's got 5 runs here tonight. 3-2 pitch fouled off to the right.
Well, he certainly has not earned the fate of losing his last 5 decisions. He's pitched much better than that, but he just has not had that run support. But you know what? You won't hear a peep out of Mark Burley. He just comes to work each day, and he knows what his job is, and he's out there towing the slab today, trying to do that job. This time he does get a little run support.
Another foul off to the right. And you're facing a team here that on June the 10th was 24-42. The Rays, remember this year, the Rays already have had a 10-game losing streak. 10. And there they were, 24-42 on June the 10th. That's not that long ago. The Burley pitch hit into right center field. Rasmus goes over from center, fills up the gap, makes a backhanded catch, 1 down. Since then, the Rays are 18-10 and could easily be 19-9, but they lost that game here to Kansas City back on Wednesday when they had the lead, and Sal Perez hit a 3-run home run off rookie Kirby Yates in the 9th inning, or this record would be even better.
Yeah, that was a very difficult loss. Even talking to a couple of the Rays coaches on the field in batting practice, and they all felt that it was just a real devastating day because they're really coming back so strongly.
Jose Molina takes high. So that's a killer for them. This is the last weekend before the All-Star break. The Blue Jays are careening. The Rays are rising, but took that hit on Wednesday. And really, this is one of the most meaningful series of the year. Even John Gibbons acknowledged that.
And I think it is for both teams. I think if one team comes out of this series with a sweep,
here's a strike.
You're certainly looking at that team having a whole new vision at the next couple of weeks here before the trade deadline, and the team that gets swept is going to be in big trouble. Now, if somebody wins 2 out of 3, then it changes things a little bit. It's not as devastating to the loser of the series.
Burley's outside.
But I know from the Rays' perspective, they virtually have to win almost every series from here on out, they feel, to compete for this division.
And a foul off to the right. Joe Madden, great friend, he said, I know it's an important weekend, and I've often talked not applying any more weight to any particular game, but I've already said we're playing July now like it's September.
Yeah, well, that's it right there, and that speaks volumes coming from your manager, and a guy that, you just said it, he doesn't like to put too much stock into any one game or one series, but I think the feel here in Tampa is exactly that. It's a point in the season where they've got to make a move.
Burley's low, 3-2. Joe went on to say the goal would be to win this series. Anything beyond that would be great, a sweep. Anything less than that, not devastating, but it'd be nice to carry that plan right into the break. 3-2 pitch, strike 3 called. Molina caught looking, and he'll carry that conversation next inning to the plate with Todd Kitchener when he comes out to catch.
Second baseman, Logan Forsythe.
Well, and don't forget the Rays have probably the hottest commodity in David Price here coming up on this trade deadline. So if they're going to be sellers, they'll know more within these next couple of weeks. The price is just going to continue to go up. As opposed to if they say we're in this and we have a chance, then they won't make that move and they're going to go for it on their own.
The Blue Jays 5, the Rays 1. Tampa Bay bats here in the 4th inning. 2 quick outs. Strike 1 to the right-handed hitting 9th hitter, second baseman Logan Forsythe. He doubled into the right field corner off Burley in the 2nd inning, but did not score. And a strike called makes it 0-2. Burley has not buckled from the 1st inning when the Rays loaded the bases with nobody out and scored only 1 run. The 4th hitter, Evan Longoria, sacrifice fly. James Loney then hit into a double play to end the inning. Burley's in high. In the 2nd, the Rays with 2 outs again loaded the bases, but Zobrist flied out to center. And from that point on, the Blue Jays have scored 5 runs to lead it 5-1. 1-2 breaking ball slapped to right field. That's a base hit. Hung it just a little bit. Fielded by Mastriani. And Forsythe goes the other way. The ball skips by Munenori, but he picks it up on a bounce. A 2-out hit.
Kevin Kiermaier.
Well, again, very interesting to see the ball. You got the 9-hitter Logan Forsythe up. It's a breaking ball. 2-strike pitch, and again the second baseman Kawasaki playing up the middle. I'm just not sure if perhaps they're over-shifting at times, especially with 2 strikes when a lot of hitters, their approach becomes more middle and the other way.
Well, now Kevin Kiermaier comes up here. He had to come on for the injured Desmond Jennings. That was back in the 2nd inning when Jennings fouled the ball right off the inside of his left knee. There's strike 1. Jennings had singled and scored the Rays' only run in the 1st inning, then walked as part of the 2nd when Burley left the bases loaded. Now Kiermaier comes up here. Pitch to him, a swing and a miss. Kiermaier had his first grand slam. It was Wednesday here against the Royals. First by a Ray since Will Myers hit one last year against the Yankees in New York. But that's the game that the Rays lost 5-4. The pitch is outside. That's a tough way not to be able to celebrate when you end up with that kind of a swing and 4 RBIs with it.
Well, and Joe Madden talked about Kiermaier today, a pretty hot hitter, and the only reason he's not in there against the lefty is to have Ben Zobrist in right field.
There's a line drive into center field, a base hit, 2 hops to Rasmus, up to second Forsythe, and the Rays 2 on, 2 outs for Ben Zobrist.
What do we say about the hot hitting, Kevin Kiermaier?
Number 18, Ben Zobrist.
Because he's been swinging the bat so well, Joe Madden said normally he would be in there despite the lefty Burley throwing tonight. But that he wanted the bat of Ben Zobrist, and that if his other righty, which Jake Odorizzi will pitch on Sunday, he will be in the outfield for sure just because he's more of a fly ball type pitcher.
Now the Rays have left 5 men on already, 1 in the first, 3 in the second, and then 1 more in the third. Now they have 2 more on here in the fourth. Zobrist 1 for 2, a single to right. Switch hitter, right-handed hitter. In this case, he takes low, ball 1. So once again, Burley trying to fend off the Rays here. Blue Jays 5 runs, 5 hits. Rays 1 run, 8 hits, and all those men left on. The Burley pitch is inside. It's not often that Mark Burley goes 3 2/3 innings with 80 pitches, but that's where he is at this point.
Well, it's the same for any pitcher, but it's especially true for Mark Burley. We're seeing him tonight. When is he real good? When he's locating the baseball pretty well on the outside and inside thirds of the plate. When he's getting hit hard, he's leaving it more in the middle of the plate.
He's in low to Zobrist. So it's 3-0 now. On deck, Brandon Guyer, and then Evan Longoria. But right here is where Burley wants to throw a strike and try and get this third out. Rays trying to rally with 2 outs. 3-0 pitch. That's a strike on the outside corner.
And it's especially true for Burley because when he misses on the plate, he's not missing with 92, 94 miles per hour. He's missing with 82 to 84. And when it's in the middle of the plate, and especially when it doesn't have a lot of movement, that's real good hitting.
Navarro sends out the series of signs read by Burley. Runners lead. 3-1 pitch hit on the ground to third. Foul ball just to the left of the bag as the ball rolls down the line. It's a game of inches.
It sure is, and that's why we talk about how Mark Burley is so effective. How has he found this kind of success this year? Because the first thing he has is movement on all his pitches. His fastball, his 2-seamer moves, his cutter's got a little cut, the curveball breaks, his changeup has some down and away to those right-handed batters. They all move, but the other thing he's done really well, I think, very efficiently this year is he's located the baseball. So he's had a lot of success for that reason. Less so when he catches the middle of the plate, but he's just been very good with his location this season.
2 down. Runners go. 3-2 pitch. Line to left field. That's a base hit. That's going to produce a run. Nelke up with it, throws to third base. In there standing up Kiermaier, and taking second on the throw is Zobrist. And the Blue Jays lead is sliced to 5-2.
And there it was, 83 miles per hour, and it's right down the middle, about belt high. That ball gets hammered by Ben Zobrist. Way too good a hitters to miss your spots, but that's what happens with Burley. It's what happens with any pitcher if you leave the ball in the middle of the plate elevated in the zone.
And now Brandon Guyer up here, 2 for 2, a bunt single and a ground ball up the middle. From the windup, the Burley pitch. Outside ball 1 here in the Rays' bottom of the 4th inning. Activity now in the Blue Jays bullpen down the left field line for the first time tonight. Right-hander Chad Jenkins getting loose in a hurry. And marked back. The ball driven to left center field, deep but playable. Back to get it, Colby Rasmus. He's under it. He has it. The inning is over. Burley holds it to a run on 3 hits and leaves 2 more. The Rays have left 7 through 4. As we go to the 5th inning, it's the Blue Jays 5, the Rays 2. Brought to you by Home Hardware. This is the Sportsnet Radio Network. Visit TorontoFordDealers.ca for details. Well, as we go to the 5th inning, the Blue Jays have a 5-2 lead over the Rays. The starters are still around. Right-handed Chris Archer and all-star lefty Mark Burley. Melky Cabrera up here. He takes outside ball 1. It was in the bottom of the 1st inning. Evan Longoria's sacrifice fly with the bases loaded and nobody out cashed in Desmond Jennings, but that's all Burley would allow, much to his credit. And it was just 1-0 Rays going to the 3rd inning. Cabrera shows bunt, takes it outside. That's when the Blue Jays paraded 8 men to the plate. Archer gave up RBI singles to Kawasaki to tie it, Cabrera for the lead, and a sacrifice fly off the bat of Bautista to make it 3-1, end of 3. And then Reyes singled home 2 in the 4th to make it 5-1. There's a line drive through the right side. That's a base hit. Melky is 2 for 3. The Rays, Ben Zobrist just singled home a run, but that made it 5-2, and Burley left 2 men on again. And really, Mark is showing why he's the old pro, and it's just so tough to beat.
Well, he is, and that's what you have to do in innings like that, is limit the damage. Mark gave up the 1 run, but then he's able to retire Geyer on the fly ball to center field. Limit the damage. It's all about damage control. When you have a 5-1 lead, he keeps the game at 5-2 instead of letting the Rays right back in it.
Well, here's Bautista. He's struck out and driven in a run with a sacrifice fly. He looks it over outside, ball 1. Now, Archer's pretty much in the same fix that Burley is, except Archer's behind by 3 runs. Mark has surpassed 80 pitches already, and Archer's next pitch will be 80. After 6 up and 6 down with 5 strikeouts, and sure enough, the bullpen phone is ringing down the right field line as we speak. And a reliever is going to get up for Tampa Bay. There's a pitch foul back. The Rays will have left-hander Cesar Ramos start to get loose.
It is really hard to believe after watching Chris Archer those first 2 innings. He was just dominating with those 5 strikeouts in the first 6 batters he faced in those first 2 innings.
Infield, we think double play depth. With the shift on, you never know.
Nobody on the right side, I know that much.
No. Loney holds on the runner at first. The pitch foul back.
Now warming the Rays bullpen.
Jose kind of looked at his left hand right there. Interestingly enough, when Jose had that plate appearance in Anaheim last day, looked like he kind of wrenched his back and went through the at-bat itself. And yet he's going to be in the home run derby. So you have to assume that Jose knows his own body. And not only is he the captain of the derby, he's going to participate.
Well, he's pretty quirky. He's always kind of stretching and flinching himself.
Archer's 1-2 pitch outside. Well, also, Jose's pretty smart, well educated. That's something his parents insisted for all the kids when they were growing up in the Dominican. And Bautista knows that there's no glamour in the home run derby. If you win it, great, but it might end up hurting you more than it helps you.
That's a lot of work is what it is. People don't realize how hard a work that is in the home run derby for those hitters.
2-2 pitch. Hit the left field. Back to get it goes Geyer. Brandon makes the catch well in front of the track. Zips the throw back to the infield. Hustling back to first, Cabrera. 1 down.
Number 30, Deanna Navarro.
I see they've changed the format this year where I think it's 7 outs now per round. So you know how long some of those home run derbies have gone with all of the hitters. And I remember catching one in Detroit when the All-Star game was in Detroit. And it is a lot of work for those hitters. It's probably funny when you're watching on TV to think that that's a lot of work, but it is. Those are max effort swings. A lot of times those hitters will take pitches on purpose just to get their rest.
What a nice honor for you to do that.
I had a pretty good view.
Yes, you did.
That was the year Bobby Abreu sent so many into those right center field seats in Comerica Park.
Navarro takes it high. Now, who eventually won it?
Abreu won that.
He won the whole thing?
Yeah, I think it was a record-breaking 20-something in 1 round. It was unbelievable.
Well, the All-Star game, July the 15th at Target Field in the Twin Cities. Navarro up here is lined out to left and grounded out to short. 5th inning. Blue Jays 5, Rays 2. Ball knocked down nicely by Molina. Holds the runner at first base. So they count 2-0. On deck, Darren Mastriani. 1 on, 1 out. Navarro hits one to right center field. Back to get it, Ben Zobrist. He shoos away the center fielder, makes the catch. 2 down as again Melky comes back to first. Ryan Goins is hitting .286, playing a very fine second base. 12 doubles, 24 RBIs. On base percentage .332, slugging percentage .344, but on the splits, Ryan having a tough time against left-handed pitching. And speaking of pitching, Aaron Sanchez last night, 6 innings. He gave up just 2 earned runs, 3 total on 5 hits, 6 strikeouts, 2 walks. That's 3 good starts in a row. Cal Drabick, 6-6, ERA at 4. He's given up more hits than innings pitched. And Deck McGuire, first-round pick a few years ago, 5-4, ERA 5.5, not faring all that well in AAA for the first time. Mastriani takes it low, ball 1. So those are just some of the names that crop up, and we'll see if the Blue Jays have to make a move into their minor league system here to help compensate for Reimold.
Sure, we will be getting word very soon. Usually they're pretty good about that, getting word up here as to what the damage is to Reimold.
Mastriani fouls one back to the screen. Mastriani, as a Blue Jay in 10 games, 3 for 23, hitting 130. Started the year with the Twins, went 0 for 13. So combined, he is 3 for 34, hitting 088. He's had some opportunities here. Now he has to match these opportunities with some performance.
Yeah, he just has not had success, not gotten the results.
He waits the delivery. It's a strike on the outside corner, 1-2.
And as we know, this is a very results-oriented business. So Darren is going to have to start performing, or of course his job will be in jeopardy as well.
Right-hander Kirby Yates, the rookie who gave up the 3-run home run to the Royals, Sal Perez, here on Wednesday, is warming up now. The right-hander with the left-hander Cesar Ramos. 5th inning, Blue Jays lead at 5-2. Melky at first, 2 down. There he goes. The 1-2 pitch is high. The throw is high, but the tag gets him anyway by the second baseman Logan Forsythe on a good throw there by Molina, and the inning is over. As we go to the bottom of the 6th inning, Chad Jenkins on strike 1. His first pitch to Yunel Escobar. The right-hand hitting veteran shortstop is flied out to center twice. He takes it outside. Burley goes 5. Mark allows 2 runs earned on 9 hits. And the Jenkins pitch is outside. Burley came in with the 5th lowest earned run average in the American League at 2.60. He leaves with the 5th lowest earned run average in the American League at 2.64, a point ahead of John Lester with the Red Sox. There's a foul off to the right. Nice job.
Well, Mark Burley was Mark Burley tonight. He just commanded the strike zone. He was pretty good with not leaving too much. When he did, they were able to throw some hits. I thought the Rays hitters had a very good approach against Mark Burley, especially early. Saw a lot of the right-handers going the other way. That's the approach you have to have success against Mark, and they did that. But he's able to make pitches, getting the inning-ending double play in the 1st and then limiting the damage to 1 run in the 4th.
Yunel grounds one to the right side, through a base hit with Kawasaki shifted up the middle. Yunel with 2 strikes with a base hit.
$1,000 to the Medicine Hillsborough Education Foundation. That brings the season total to $41,000. Number 28, Jose Molina.
Yet another ground ball base hit through the right side. That time, again, past Kawasaki, who's shading the middle with the shift. Another 2-strike approach, and a good approach by Escobar, shooting that ball the other way.
Here's Molina. He is single and struck out. The Jenkins pitch fouled off third base side. You'd think, too, on the shift, there'd be a modification with 2 strikes, because now a right-handed hitter just trying to protect and put the ball in place somewhere.
I think especially with 2 strikes, it's one thing if you want to play the shift, if that's what the numbers say. But with 2 strikes, most hitters become a little bit more defensive approach, a little bit more the other way, letting that ball travel. And we've seen that out of Rays hitters tonight.
5-2 Blue Jays, out hit 10-6 by the Rays. But the Rays left 7 men on over the first 4 innings against Burley, scoring only twice. The Jenkins pitch. Chad's in there with a strike. So it's 0-2. Left-hander Brett Cecil ready to go. On deck is the 9th hitter, and right-handed hitting second baseman Logan Forsythe.
Great job by Chad Jenkins here, getting ahead of Molina. Molina's a perfect hit-and-run candidate. By throwing strike 1 and him fouling it off, that takes the hit-and-run away. You cannot put a hit-and-run on with an 0-1 count.
Yunel the lead. Strike 2 pitch outside.
Hit and runs are usually put on in fastball counts and fastballs where pitchers have to throw strikes. 0-0 sometimes is a good time to hit and run. 1-0 especially, perhaps 2-1. It's when a pitcher has to throw a strike, and the likelihood of him throwing a fastball for a strike is the best time to utilize the hit and run. Jose Molina is a perfect candidate.
And Jenkins ready. Slide steps into the pitch, misses outside. Chad, in 14 games, 0-1 is ERA 3.86, but it tells a different story when you go behind the numbers. His ERA is 5.87, and opponents have hit 290 off him at home. On the road, his ERA is 2.45, and opponents have hit just 2.27 against him. Quite a difference. There's a fly ball hit the left field pretty well. Backboard Melky Cabrera. He's at the wall. He jumps, and he makes a spectacular catch up against that Tampa Bay Times billboard. The throw on to first, cut near the bag by Jenkins. Back hustling with all he's worth is Unell on a great catch by Cabrera.
Outstanding jump by Melky. It looked like for sure this was over his head. It looked off the bat like it had a chance to get out of the park. Melky had a great jump turning to his right, reaching that glove up just in front of the wall. Melky turned around and fired that ball. He tried to get it all the way back to first base. Tried to get Escobar getting off the bag.
And he almost pulled it off. Hasn't Melky played a stunning defense on this trip?
He really has. And, you know, again, it's that first move for an outfielder. Melky got that jump by opening up to his right. With the right-hand hitter, that ball's going to hook. So the ball's hit at you. You know that's going to come at you, but it's also going to hook towards the line. That's why he turns to his right. Being a left-handed thrower, that glove is on his right hand. Got it reaching over his shoulder in front of that wall.
Blue Jays 5, Rays 2, 1 out, bottom of the 6th inning. Forsythe up. Right-handed hitter takes inside, ball 1. Well, we mentioned the Tampa Bay Times bullpen, the ad up on the wall near the bullpens. And there, Melky did a great job picking it right off there. That's a headliner right there in and of itself for the Tampa Bay Times if they want to run it. There goes Unell. The pitch on the ground to short. Reyes has it to second. Not in time, but first in time. Blue Jays unable to get that runner with Escobar running. They gave it a great try, but couldn't pull it off.
Oh, good idea. Great chance there by Jose Reyes. It didn't look like he had a shot with the runner going on the play, but Jose fielded that ball quickly. Escobar stealing on the pitch, was sliding into second base. He shoveled it very quickly to Kawasaki. Great idea because he knows that even if you don't get that force out, Kawasaki turns that ball and still gets the out at first base. Nice try by Reyes.
So Jenkins is going to leave here for the left-hander Brett Cecil, who comes on. Kevin Kiermaier is a left-handed hitter, and in his last... Thank you, Mike, and here comes Brett Cecil against the left-handed hitting Kevin Kiermaier.
And this move is necessitated by John Gibbons. We'll see if it works for him, but the hot-hitting Kiermaier not near as good against left-handed pitching, hitting at a 171 clip compared to right-handers. So that's why the move is made by John Gibbons. We'll see if it works for him.
Desmond Jennings was in this leadoff spot. Singled and scored in the first, walked in the second, but in that plate appearance, he fouled one off his left knee, taken out of the game, and Kiermaier has come on, singled to center his first time up, and here he is, second at bat here in the 6th inning. 2 down, runner at second, Escobar. First pitch, ground ball hit out to second. In front of it, Demita Kawasaki whips the throw on to first. Inning over. Cecil does his job, and the Rays do not score. They leave another. That's 8. We go to the 7th. Blue Jays 5, Rays 2. Brought to you by Home Hardware. This is the Sportsnet Radio Network. A stretch by the left-hander. Pitch on the way, bunted, and Reyes tries to bunt his way on. Nice surprise element.
Good idea by Jose. I just don't know if I would do it with a strike already on me in the count. By fouling that off, now he's put himself behind 1 and 2. Clearly catching Evan Longoria, the Gold Glover, down there a little deep, so he thought he'd take a shot. I'd rather see him take that shot earlier in the count before he already has 1 strike on him.
And the 1-2 pitch. Hit on the ground to Longoria, but foul. Down the line, right-hander Dustin McGowan getting loose. Reyes has been a big part of this Blue Jays 5-2 lead. The Rays scored in the first inning. Longoria sacrificed fly off early. Bases were loaded, nobody out, but that's all they got. And then Reyes was a part of a 3-run, 4-hit rally in the third to take the lead. He pops one foul first base side over the Rays dugout. Reyes singled right in the middle of that, the hub of the wheel, if you will, to keep it going. That single set up a bases loaded situation. Kawasaki and Cabrera each with RBI singles, and Bautista followed with a sacrifice fly, and just like that it was 3-1. Then Reyes with a 2-out, 2-run single to right to cash in 2 walks off Chris Archer. That made it 5-1, and it's 5-2 now here in the 7th. Jose hits one foul outside of third. Not sure what Reyes is going to do here in this situation here, but he's swinging like he is right on top of every pitch.
Well, he wasn't. That was a good approach right there to that, from that slider from Ramos right there, and that's what Reyes will do. When he's good, he's letting that ball travel. He has a tendency to get a little antsy, get a lot of movement at the plate. Looking a little bit better at this point.
1-2 pitch sliced on the ground to second. It's taken by the second baseman. Forsythe. Logan throws on to first, 1 down.
Second baseman, Munenori Kawasaki.
Now, speaking of pretty good hitters, yesterday, Derek Jeter had 2 singles. Okay, ho-hum. His 1,000th career multi-hit game.
That's a lot of hitting.
I was just thinking of that because Reyes comes up here. He just grounded out. Here's Kawasaki. He takes strike 1. Reyes, a couple of years ago, receded for career hit number 1,000. So did Bautista. Now, Jeter has 1,000 multi-hit games.
That's why he has over 3,000 hits.
And Kawasaki takes outside. Now, in those 1,000 games, the Yankees are 703 and 297.
When he has multi-hit games.
Yes. He makes them count.
Yeah, I guess when he goes, they go, right?
What a winning percentage in those games. Pitch is low. Now, if you know the only 3 other major leaguers who have more than 1,000 multi-hit games, you're pretty good. I think it'd be fair to say right off the top the name Pete Rose with over 4,000 hits. Stan Musial, 1,059 multi-hit games. Rose had 1,225. And Hank Aaron, 1,046. Kawasaki looks it over low. 3 balls and 1 strike.
That one surprises me a little bit. Hank Aaron.
1,059, 1,046 multi-hit games for Aaron. Musial just above him. And then Paul Molitor, 967, and the late Tony Gwynn, 951. Kawasaki takes strike 2 call, 3-2. Always remembered about Stan Musial on the road. I believe it was at Wrigley Field. Collected hit number 3,000. That gave him, Joe, an even 1,500 on the road and 1,500 at home.
How's that for consistency? We talk about home and road splits. It didn't matter to him, did it?
No, it did not. What a Hall of Famer. 3-2 pitch from Ramos. Topped on the ground up along first. Ramos goes after it, backhands it, and runs into Kawasaki. Tags him in the side. 2 down here in the 7th inning with the Blue Jays up 5-2.
Left fielder, Melky Cabrera.
So it's just amazing sometimes what the numbers can tell in this game and what the players do. And Derek came up in 95 for a month. I think it was in May. Rookie of the year in 96. And now this is it. Retiring at the age of 40. Just turned 40 June the 26th with a stellar career. Now Kawasaki coming off the field slowly after that little ground ball up along first. The Blue Jays have already lost Nolan Reimold here with a left calf strain tonight. Did you see what Munenori did?
No, I didn't. You know, I just noticed after his at-bat right there, he's been walking all the way from first base behind home plate all the way to the dugout. He would not normally do that.
Here's Melky, takes ball 1.
We know with his energy, he always will jog on and off the field, and he walked the entire way. Certainly concerning.
Cabrera's 2 for 3. A couple of singles, 1 to drive in a run, and a 3-run third. 7th inning, 2 outs, nobody on. The pitch socked foul outside of third. And the ball boy does a nice job down there protecting the catcher, warming up Dustin McGowan. That was a great play by that kid.
Yeah, it's not the first one either. He's had some action down there tonight with that Blue Jays bullpen on the go.
Looks like big Eric Kratz, too, is warming up McGowan. And Eric doesn't need a lot of help with that big 6'4" frame of his. He's concrete on both sides. Ball popped up foul right side. You wonder, too, Joe, the only two surfaces in Major League Baseball that are artificial, the Rogers Center, and it's just dirt cutouts, and here at Tropicana Field, where they do have a dirt infield. But you wonder, for anybody like Reimold or for Kawasaki now, perhaps, coming from grass and dirt to this surface first game, if it's jarring and if it's going to cause some of these little issues.
It makes you wonder. I mean, there's so many injuries in baseball, and they keep popping up, and they're strange ones, just like the one Nolan Reimold experienced tonight. But who knows about this artificial turf?
Fastball, strike 3 called, inside corner, and the inning is over. Bottom of the 7th we go. The Blue Jays lead the Tampa Bay Rays 5-2. Brought to you by Home Hardware. This is the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Sportsnet.ca/Jerry.
We go to the bottom of the 7th inning. The Blue Jays with a 5-2 lead over the Tampa Bay Rays. And Joe, Steve Collison's come out to play second base for Munenori Kawasaki.
We just knew something did not look right. We know the energy that Munenori plays with, and after he grounded out to Ramos, the pitcher who tagged him down the first baseline, it was an unassisted play. Munenori walked all the way back to the dugout behind home plate. Sure enough, he's done something.
Brett Cecil misses ball 1 to switch hitter Ben Zobrist up here batting right-handed. And the tag was not a collision at all. It was just a light tag.
Yeah, it's hard to say what exactly it is, but something serious enough to have to leave the game.
And the pitch is in there for a strike. We were speculating that Nolan Reimold left in the 4th inning running from second to third on a ground ball where the throw went to first. And he left with a left calf strain. Day to day, there's only 2 days left. Tomorrow and Sunday, there's a swing and a miss. But they're pretty big days, as we've talked about the magnitude of these games for both these teams. And if Kawasaki's in that same situation, John Gibbons must be wondering, what do we do? And Alex Anthopoulos the same.
Well, especially with there's only 2 days left before the break here, but you cannot play that short-handed. Both guys leaving the game. Usually a player leaves a game, they're not going to be good the next day to play.
We speculated Kevin Pillar hitting .310 down there in Buffalo might be a possibility. The pitch is outside. And we mentioned Ryan Goins, left-hand hitting second baseman, hitting .286. You don't suppose they need a second baseman. Tollison can play second. He's a right-handed hitter. So Goins has had a tough time against left-handed pitching. Time will tell. Cecil back 2-2. Ball driven to left center field pretty well. Back goes Rasmus, still running. Track, wall, he's there. He makes an over-the-shoulder catch right in front of the fence. 1 down.
Well, Ben Zobrist hit it to the deepest part of the ballpark out in left center field. That wall actually juts out from the 370 marker. It goes to the gap a little more, then it juts out even further into center field. That's exactly where Zobrist hit it. Colby Rasmus able to flag it down.
On our Sportsnet 590, the flagship station, there's a ground ball down to short. Reyes has it. One quick throw, one quick pitch to get Brandon Geyer 2 down. So Ben Wagner at the mic for you. That's Thursday coming up, July the 17th. The Bisons and the Pawtucket Red Sox. Here comes John Gibbons. And the way we're going here, I wonder if Ben's going to have anybody to talk about.
The Bisons are all going to be Jays.
So Dustin McGowan comes on. Cecil does his job. He gets the last
They're out there, and we touched on a few of those things as well, and that's what he referred to Marcus as the confidence that he pitches with. He did not want to give up that lead.
Well, here's McGowan facing Evan Longoria. 2 outs, nobody on, bottom of the 7th inning. Blue Jays 5, Rays 2. Longoria takes it outside, ball 1. For McGowan, since joining the bullpen, and he started the season as a starter, made 8 starts. In the pen, he's allowed 4 earned runs in 22 innings. That's an ERA of 1.64 over 21 games. And opponents have hit just 171 in that new role of his. A swing and a miss. It's a valuable role. The Blue Jays starters have done very well. And none of the starters have been hurt. Every other team's basically had starters go down. The Yankees have had 4 starters go down. But the Blue Jays, that's one of their strengths this year.
That is one of their strengths, and as we said, coming out of spring training, I would not have anticipated that, but they have pitched well.
A ball fouled off to the right. And when I say that, I want to make sure that I overemphasize it rather than underemphasize it. That is their strength this year.
It really is. It's turned out to be their strength, and the starters have really given them a chance. And the biggest thing now is it is almost the All-Star break. There's still a lot of baseball to be played, and that's where you like to hope that an R.A. Dickey, a Mark Burley, the veteran-type guys that are aging a little bit, getting to the latter part of their career, if they can continue to perform right through September.
Evan takes it outside.
And then you have the younger Marcus Stroman and Drew Hutchison. Hutch coming off Tommy John surgery, only threw about 35-plus innings last year. So see how that workload accounts for his future here in August and into September. Now, this is a club that, I mean, you're shooting to make the playoffs. That's great. That's October 1st. But to go into the playoffs, you're pitching in October as well. There is a lot of baseball to be played here if this team plans on advancing.
Longoria struck out, flied out, and knocked in a run with a sacrifice fly. He looks it over outside. And remember, when you go into October and you finish as the World Series champions, as the Red Sox did, that's a taxing extra month on the pitching staff. And not that every World Series champion finishes last the next year, but as we speak, the Red Sox are last, 41-51, and their pitching staff has taken a hit. 3-2 pitch fouled off to the right. They're tired.
They're tired, and I think that's a big part of it. Of course, it is taxing. It's a shorter off season too for all the players, so they come back. But I think the other issue too is everything was so magical for that Red Sox club last year. And when you win a World Series, you need everything to go right, and I think they did. But the key piece to me that they're still missing is that Jacoby Ellsbury. If I had to pick out one at the top of their lineup.
The full count pitch on the way, fouled back by Longoria, and it looked like he might have gotten the catcher there a little bit too, Navarro.
Justin, that power arm out of the bullpen for John Gibbons, 96, 97 miles per hour with that slider. He used a changeup as well, more so when he was starting. He's become more of a two-pitch pitcher out of the bullpen.
Aaron Loup warming up in the Jays pen down the left field line. The 3-2 pitch again. Line down the left field line, right toward Loup, and goes right over his head. And Bob Stanley, the pitching coach down there, and they're looking at Bob right now. He's kind of saying, no, I'm okay. And they said, why don't you go for it? Well, he doesn't have any glove on.
No, let's get out of the way time.
And ready again, McGowan. Full count pitch. That's in the dirt, ball 4. Longoria earns the walk, and that brings up the left-hand hitting James Loney, and we'll see if John Gibbons. No, he's not going to go to Loup. He is going to send Pete Walker out to the mound to talk to McGowan about how to pitch to Loney.
Well, it's getting to be crunch time, of course, getting the latter part of the game here, and this is where you have to watch because every pitch is so important. Now he's facing Loney, and that's why you want to keep an eye on Loney with one swing of the bat and get this club right back in the game as well.
Just a reminder, tomorrow we're on the air at 3:30 Eastern Daylight Time, 3:30, 4:10 first pitch. David Price 8-7, lifetime 14-2 against the Blue Jays, against Drew Hutchison 6-7. Then on Sunday, we're on the air at 1 o'clock, 1:40 first pitch. Jake Odorizzi 4-8. R.A. Dickey's going to get that start. Normally it would be Jay Happ's turn, but with the off day, Dickey will pitch on 4 days rest, the regular 4 days rest, and he'll finish the first half facing the Rays here on Sunday. So join us tomorrow, as we said, 3:30 full pregame show, 4:10 first pitch. Price against Hutchison, Dickey against Odorizzi on Sunday. Loney up here 0 for 3. James takes it low, ball 1, left-handed hitter. Rays trail it 5-2. And a 2-out walk to Longoria puts him on.
Interesting that John Gibbons did not go to the lefty Loup against Loney, the left-hander here, but perhaps he wants to hang on a little bit. Loney obviously better against right-handed pitching.
And the Loney look, it's a strike, 1-1. Left-handed hitters have hit just 164 off Loup. But here, and you know they're not going to pinch hit for Loney. So McGowan will fend here for himself. Left-handed hitters have hit 263 off him. Pitches outside.
And the flip side is, of course, you can't bring a new pitcher in for every batter. John Gibbons slowly running through his bullpen here, already having used Jenkins and Cecil.
Crowd starts to chant, "Let's go Rays." A Friday night game here at the Trop. In the 7th, Longoria the lead. McGowan back to his hitter. High, ball 3. And now Dustin fighting that strike zone a little bit here. 13 pitches, 7 balls, 6 strikes.
Well, I found it interesting that he threw the 3-2 slider to Longoria, and it's because the earlier pitch, the fastball, he really turned on and drilled it down the left field line. But I still say in a 5-2 ball game, here's my 95-96. If you want to hit it out of the park, go ahead.
3-1 pitch, high, and now the Rays get a life here. 2 walks. Sean Rodriguez comes up. And against the Rays, with their history against the Blue Jays, and it's not really not worth repeating, but we're going to say it anyway, the Blue Jays are winless in the last 21 series here.
And this is a hot-hitting Sean Rodriguez. 9 RBIs over his last 13 games, 11 of those starts. He's been cashing in when called upon, and the Rays are looking for that big 2-out hit right here.
So Burley walked 1 over his 5 innings. He gave up 2 runs on 9 hits. Jenkins 2/3 of scoreless relief, allowed a hit, no walks. Cecil 1 scoreless, hitless inning. And now McGowan faces 2 hitters and walks them both. Rodriguez up here 0 for 3. Right-handed hitter fouls one back over the screen, strike 1.
That time he started out with the fastball, trying to get that release point back. Sometimes when a pitcher loses that release point with the fastball, you'll go to a slider just to try to get it back out front. By throwing a slider, you have to really get that release point out front and be right with it to help yourself with that delivery with the fastball. That time he started out with the fastball. Again, elevated in the zone a little bit. Pretty good pitch to hit right there for Rodriguez.
2 outs. The strike 1 pitch in the dirt, and a bluff throw to first by Navarro. Nobody there.
Kawasaki left tonight's game with right hamstring tightness.
There you go. Right hamstring tightness for Kawasaki day to day. The Blue Jays have 2 in this game, leaving day to day now. You got a left calf strain for Nolan Reimold out in the 4th, and now Kawasaki out in the 7th. The 1-1 pitch. Fly ball deep left field. This game is tied here in St. Pete on a monstrous home run. Sean Rodriguez, 9th home run, ties it up at 5 off Dustin McGowan.
Dustin McGowan's just been fighting the strike zone since he came in. I talked about the 3-2 slider that he threw to Longoria. Dustin McGowan is between 94 and 96 miles per hour, but he's been having trouble commanding the fastball as well.
Unella takes outside.
When you cannot command the fastball, and now you go to your secondary pitch that is not real sharp, that's the damage that can be done. He hung that ball right out over the plate for Sean Rodriguez.
Unell 1 for 3 with a single on the ground to right. The pitch is high. How deflating is that in that Blue Jays clubhouse dugout? Mark Burley et al.
The hits just keep coming for John Gibbons and the Blue Jays. Nothing seems to go their way, even when they do play a pretty good ball game.
McGowan's pitch is fouled off to the right, and here Dustin has no one to blame but himself with 2 walks coming out of the bullpen with 2 outs and nobody on, and 1 swing of the bat cost him 3 runs.
No, it's just unacceptable, and Dustin will be the first one to tell you, coming out of that bullpen and walking 2 batters. Not only walking 2 batters, but then you're bringing the tying run up to the plate. This all with 2 outs.
Escobar punches one down the right field side, foul. Bautista gives it a chase, but it's back in the seats.
And the only good news for the Blue Jays is that the ball game is now tied. They still got a chance to win this game. Very deflating to give up that 5-2 lead late here in the 7th inning, but there's still a ball game to play with a couple innings left. They've got to find a way to fight back here and win this thing.
So Mark Burley is not going to win his 11th. Chris Archer is not going to lose his 6th. And once again, the bullpens will decide it. McGowan ready. Here he comes outside, and for Dustin McGowan, 22 pitches, 12 balls, 10 strikes.
He's just really pulling that fastball. He clearly just does not have his release point. Thinking of reaching out front. A pitcher really wants to reach out front towards the catcher's glove. Almost think of throwing it through that catcher as if he had a second glove on behind. He's coming across the ball.
His next pitch comes all the way to the backstop, ball 4. So McGowan has walked 3 around a home run, and the next walk will be taken by manager John Gibbons. Slowly to the mound from the third base dugout as he points to the bullpen for Aaron Loop. And a tough game here for McGowan, to be sure.
Yeah, it's very difficult. It just clearly looks like he had no idea with that fastball. And then, of course, when you go to your secondary pitch, when you don't have your fastball command, you're in big trouble already. If you do have your slider and you can throw it consistently for strikes, you might be able to get away, but there's no way you can keep going to that. Clearly his fastball command was not there. Something wrong with his delivery, just not feeling the ball out of his fingers.
And of course, really what pours salt into the wounds, we mentioned the Blue Jays in their last 21 series here, 0-19 and 2 ties. They split 2 4-game series, including the one to start the year here. And it's situations like these that have created those kind of numbers.
It does, and it makes you wonder, why is it in this building that the Blue Jays cannot find a way to win, or do the Rays find ways to win? One or the other, but either way, it's not working in the Blue Jays' favor.
Well, let's go back to Toronto. Here it's 5-5. Runner first, 2 outs, bottom of the 7th inning. Here's Mike Wilner with a Sportsnet out-of-town scoreboard. Thank you, Mike. Aaron Loop is ready to go. Jose Molina comes up, 1 for 3 with a base hit to left. Yunel Escobar is at first base. He just drew a 2-out walk after the 3-run home run by Sean Rodriguez to tie this game at 5. Pitches outside, ball 1. Loop gave up the 2-run home run to Albert Pujols on Wednesday on the road trip in Anaheim. The Blue Jays were ahead 7-6. That was a 7th inning home run, his 20th, to give the Angels an 8-7 lead, and that's what they won it by. The pitch is outside. And so the Blue Jays have had trouble hitting home runs, and they still lead the major leagues in hitting home runs, but they're giving up home runs too. And the bullpen now is not the strength that it was last season.
No, it certainly isn't. We've seen that over and over again. We've talked about the rotation being the strength, but this bullpen has clearly struggled most of the season.
Molina takes it outside.
That bullpen near to the bottom of the American League now. They've crept down there, and it's just, you're not going to win without a good bullpen, because when you do have a lead, you need to hang on to those leads. If you're in a tight game, that bullpen needs to come in and keep it a tight game.
Jose shows bunt, takes a strike, 3-1.
No matter how you slice it, the bullpen is very valuable, and you're not going to have success and be atop the standings with a bullpen that's 12th in the American League in ERA.
Luke 2-2 in 43 games, ERA 3.3. Now the home run he allowed to Pujols was the first he's allowed all year in 43 2/3 innings as a swing and a miss. 3-2.
We talk about pitchers missing their spots, and that's what Aaron Luke did to Albert Pujols. He tried to come in with a fastball, which is a great idea. He just didn't execute his pitch. He left it out over the plate, and that's why Albert Pujols has over 500 home runs. He does not miss mistakes.
512, now tied with the great Ernie Banks, and for 21st overall, Eddie Matthews as well. Loop set. Runner goes, 3-2 pitch, strike 3 called. The inning is over. That's the second straight time that Molina's been called out on strike. We go to the 8th inning. All of a sudden, this game is tied at 5. Sean Rodriguez parks a home run to left field with 2 walks aboard and 2 outs in the 7th inning off Dustin McGowan. To the 8th we go, brought to you by Home Hardware. This is the Sportsnet Radio Network. Fans, be sure and play the VTech bottom of the 9th trivia challenge for your chance. And now the question is, whose chance is it to win here with 2 innings to go in a 5-5 game all of a sudden?
Well, I'll tell you, with Joe Madden going to Brad Boxberger, he's been very good out of Joe Madden's bullpen.
Tonight's paid attendance, 17,533.
There you go, 17,533, just a shade above the average that the Rays have this year, which is last in Major League Baseball. Jose Bautista takes strike 1. Boxberger comes in here, 2-1 in 34 games, ERA 2.5. He's allowed only 18 hits over 35 2/3 innings with 52 strikeouts, 12 walks. Ground ball to the mound, and it goes under the glove of Boxberger and goes into center field with a base hit attached to it. And Bautista reaches here to start the 8th inning.
And there's your shift again. The Rays playing Jose to shift hard to the left side. Second baseman Logan Forsythe on the shortstop side of the bag. Jose just hit about a 52 hopper. Would have been an easy backhand for the second baseman. It goes up the middle for a base hit.
And Boxberger reached down for it. It almost ended up in his glove. So Bautista with his first hit. He's 1 for 3 with a sacrifice fly. Jose drove in the 3rd run in the 3rd inning when the Blue Jays came into that inning down 1-0. Evan Longoria sacrifice fly in the first off Burley. But the Blue Jays struck for 3 in the 3rd to take the lead. RBI singles by Kawasaki and Cabrera, and Bautista sacrifice fly. There's strike 1 to Navarro. Then in the 4th, Jose Reyes with 2 down, single home, 2 walks. That made it 5-1. In the bottom of the 4th inning, Ben Zobrist single home Logan Forsythe to make it 5-2. And then in the 7th inning with 2 outs, Dustin McGowan came on, as you just heard, and issued walks to Longoria and Loney, followed by Sean Rodriguez, home run to left, deep into the bleacher seats to tie it up at 5, and that's the score here as we start the 8th. Navarro takes it low.
Boxberg averaged 93 miles per hour with his fastball. He's pretty well fastball changeup guy. He's got a slider and a curveball, does not throw them much. Pretty well a 2-pitch pitcher out of that bullpen.
And now the Rays shift over on the other side. 3 infielders to the right of second. Longoria, the 3rd baseman, he's at shortstop, and if the runner should go, he could certainly cover the bag. Navarro takes it high. 2 balls and 1 strike. Escobar's at second base, basically, and he and Longoria are talking about what to do in the event.
It's amazing. We have seen more shifts in baseball this year than ever before in the history of this game. Now, I know a lot of the data shows that it does benefit the defense and that a lot of extra outs are recorded, but we've seen at least a handful of hits today go through holes where fielders normally would be playing.
And Navarro trying to slap one to left field, fouls it off 3rd base side.
He may just be. It looked like he was trying to really stay inside that ball with his hands, let it travel and shoot it to left field. A lot of room on that left side of the infield.
Brandon Geyer out in straightaway left. Kevin Kiermaier is in center. Ben Zobrist in right. Desmond Jennings had to leave the game for the Rays in the 2nd inning. Fouled a pitch off his left knee. Blue Jays have lost Nolan Reimold and Munenori Kawasaki. They're day-to-day with a left calf strain, respectively, and a right hamstring strain. There's a ground ball out to second. Now has it, takes it to the bag 1, takes his time, throws to first to get Navarro. That's 2. And just like that, that takes care of Bautista's ground ball. Single.
Bringing the season total to $10,250. Spectating encourages you to double up on the Rays.
Well, Boxberger got a big pitch.
Yeah, he did. And when Boxberger came in, he gave up the base hit to Bautista in a hole that was probably would have been occupied with a regularly positioned defense. That time, as hard as Navarro hit that ball, that may have been a base hit, but it's taken away because of the shift. So there you go.
And here's Darren Mastriani, a foul back with a full cut to the screen. Reimold, after striking out in the 2nd inning, walked to begin the 4th. Then a foul out later, and he tagged up and went into second on that foul out to right field. Dan Johnson walked. The runners moved up on Francisco's ground out to second. There's strike 2 called. But Reimold needed some attention at 3rd base, and he left with what was later determined a left calf strain. That might have also incurred when he ran from first to second on that foul out to right.
Could have been earlier, and that's just a big loss there for John Gibbons because that's that right-handed bat that they've picked up, and he's looked very good.
The right-hander Boxberger's pitch foul back to the screen.
We'll really miss that bat tomorrow against David Price starting for the Rays.
Again, we're on the air tomorrow, 3:30, 4:10 first pitch after the full pregame show for you. Price 8-7, Drew Hutchison 6-7. 5-5 the score here, 2 outs in the top of the 8th. Mastriani 0 for 1. The pitch to him. Hit on the ground weakly to first base, and it takes a nice hop to James Loney, and he goes to the bag and safe at first base. Mastriani, as Loney dove for the bag, and Mastriani beat him to the bag. Here comes manager Joe Madden.
Well, it's a bit of almost a half swing by Mastriani, but with his speed, he got down the line in a hurry. James Loney made the play, but he had to dive to make it to catch the ball. Coming to the bag, it looked like Mastriani just beat him to the bag. Joe Madden's going to go out and have a look. Loney gloved the ball to his backhand right on the line, but then he dove towards it, and it looks like Mastriani just beat him to the bag.
He did. That's a good call. He's safe. And Joe Madden will give it up here. So Mastriani hustles all the way, a ground ball down to first into a hit. Now, the umpires are going to review it. That's one of those where Mastriani had his foot right there at the bag as Loney dove for the bag, too.
It's so close.
Now, the crowd sees a certain replay here that now we're seeing as well. But when you get down to a fraction of a frame, freeze by foot, frame by frame, broken down like that, I can't believe that they would overturn this call, because now you're telling the umpires, you really, no matter what your background is, your experience, you're not going to get the calls right because we've got computers to do it.
Well, that almost might be where we're headed, and it looks like the way Loney had to slide, he actually slid with his glove going towards the bag. It certainly appeared like Mastriani beat it. But again, the important thing here is that the call on the field was safe. For them to overturn this call, there needs to be convincing evidence that Loney's glove got to the bag before Mastriani's foot landed on it. It is about as close as it comes. And you know what, Jerry? I've made calls like this, and I've been wrong so many times, and I'm watching frame-by-frame replays, so I'm not even going to guess. I would have to say this call is going to stand as safe. I can't see it being overturned, but I've said that before.
I'd have to agree. The call stands the way we just saw it because there's not any kind of conclusive evidence to turn it over. Loney made the slide, reached out with his gloved hand.
Right there, though. See, we have another frame there that looks like that glove may be touching the first base bag just before Mastriani's foot. Hard to say.
Yeah, that really is. And if you're umpire Mike Everett, you make the call. And for me, the umpire made, in his opinion, the right call. He doesn't have access to this. And really, it's almost unfair if they turn it over, in my opinion, on what is really slowing it down to the nth degree.
Well, it is. And I mean, again, the bottom line for Major League Baseball here is they want the play to be called correctly. This is the process. This process should do that. But we've seen a lot of plays this year, and there's been some shown nationally, too, that they have not gotten correct.
So we're still waiting. And remember, there are different looks, too. From one angle, the bag covers, did the glove actually get to the bag? It looks like it, but did it actually? Then on the next one, did it get there when the foot was that close to the bag? So you need those 12 different views that they have in New York.
And again, because this is taking so long, it tells you that in New York, they're taking an awful lot of looks at it. That's how close this play was.
It's a 5-5 tie here in the top of the 8th inning. If Mastriani stays at first on the call safe, then the Blue Jays would have an opportunity here to break the tie. Colby Rasmus waiting. And remember, the pitcher on the mound, Brad Boxberger, he's just standing around. So that's an advantage for the team that's on offense if the call stands.
And how about if he does get this call and he is safe? How about Mastriani trying to steal second base, first pitch, get in scoring position for Colby Rasmus? And I'm sure this is not a delay that Joe Madden is very happy with either. He wants this thing decided so that his pitcher can get back on the mound.
They've reviewed it and the call stands. He's safe. And Joe, that's really the best call.
I think so. All the angles that we had, I don't think that there was convincing evidence to overturn that call, and apparently that's what New York thought as well.
Time of delay, 3 minutes.
And the reason this call stands is what they call it is because there was no convincing evidence to overturn it.
And it took 3 minutes and 44 seconds to determine that. And at least kudos to New York to try to get it right. And here it appears that they did. But you're right, with coin flips all around over the first half of the season, you don't know.
You just don't know. I've been wrong several times after watching a lot of replays. So good thing I'm not the guy in New York making the decisions.
Or maybe you might make some better calls. Now Mastriani gets the lead, a 5-5 tie here in St. Pete, 8th inning. A throw to first, Boxberger thinking maybe he would go on first movement. Tim Leeper, the coach, up to stand right behind Mastriani, who looks at third base coach Luis Rivera for his signs. We're in the 8th inning. Rasmus up here, 1 for 3, a single to right center, scored back in the 3-run third. So Darren gets his lead and draws a throw, scoots back to the bag on his stomach.
Boxberg's a real quick move over to first base. Now, Tim Leeper, the first base coach, he would have a scouting report on all of these pitchers from the Rays. He would know when Boxberger comes in the game if this is a guy that we can run on. So he'll know that going in. He's watched tape. He has the reports. I'm not sure of that information. We'll see what's relayed to Mastriani.
The stretch. Darren does not go. Rasmus takes strike one. Mastriani has one stolen base. It was not with the Blue Jays. It was with Minnesota.
Tim Leeper with the stopwatch in his hand. About an average time to the plate there for Boxberger. Pretty good time. Jose Molina throws the ball pretty well. But again, that quick move that Boxberger has shown already makes it difficult for Mastriani to get a good lead and to get a good jump as well.
Colby's sitting on 12 home runs and inviting right field here at the Trop. Swing and a miss, strike two. Rasmus with 27 RBIs. Colby, however, 70 strikeouts, 14 walks, on-base percentage .268.
And Boxberger has shown him his two pitches. First one was a fastball. That one was a changeup.
Shift on, three infielders to the right of second. A quick throw to first, diving back in Mastriani. Out in shallow right field, second baseman Logan Forsythe. Longoria is basically playing short. And the shortstop, Escobar, is playing second. 0-2 on Rasmus.
I'm watching the feet of Boxberger. Very quick feet with his move, but he has to make a step towards first base. Third base coach Luis Rivera just made that a point.
Fastball away, 1-2.
Third base coach Rivera just looked at home plate umpire Todd Titchener, and he pivoted with his body saying, hey, he's got to make a step over there. Otherwise, it's a box. So they'll be looking for that now.
Molina looks into his first base dugout. Maybe a pitch out in order. It's 1-2 on Rasmus. Mastriani draws the throw, and Jose looks into the dugout for those throws over as well. On deck, Dan Johnson. First game as a Blue Jays, walked 3 times. Former Tampa Bay Rays. The right-hander set. High leg kick. There goes Mastriani. The pitch, strike 3 called. So it becomes a moot point as Rasmus takes it to end the inning. No runs, 2 hits, 1 left. Bottom of the 8th we go. Blue Jays 5, Rays 5. Brought to you by Home Hardware. This is the Sportsnet Radio Network.
The people who help keep the lights on.
More Toronto Blue Jays baseball is coming your way on the Sportsnet Radio Network.
MLB.com @bat is the official app of Major League Baseball. Listen to live audio, follow games pitch by pitch, and enjoy in-game video highlights. The app is available on the iPhone, iPad, iPod Touch, Android, and BlackBerry. Subscription packages are available. Visit BlueJays.com for more details. Home half of the 8th inning we go here at Tropicana Field. The Rays 5, the Blue Jays 5. Aaron Loop, the left-hander, to face right-hand hitting second baseman Logan Forsythe. Pitch outside, ball 1. Closer and right-hander Grant Balfour starts to warm up in the Rays' pen down the right field line. It's Loop against the house here. Nobody warming up in the Jays' pen down the left field side. Forsythe has doubled and singled. He fouls one back, and that almost hit Kevin Kiermaier on deck. Don't think Kevin saw that coming, and luckily he's got his batting helmet on. That ball came pretty close to that helmet. Forsythe, a .243 average, 3 home runs, 14 RBIs. Aaron ready. He's low and inside.
This game was lined up perfectly for John Gibbons with Brett Cecil in the 7th. McGowan coming in, just needing 1 out. Bringing in the righty to face the righty Longoria. He had Loop probably ready in relief of McGowan for the 8th. And you have Casey Jansen set up for the 9th. But things have gone awry.
Loop in high, 3-1.
It's amazing how fast this game can change.
And really at the major league level too, Joe, and you know this as a professional, how fast the game is at this level.
Absolutely, and that's just not a good feeling for McGowan coming out of that bullpen, just not having a feel for the baseball.
The pitch fouled off right side, 3-2. So the top of the order waits here. Luke trying to get this 9th hitter to start the bottom of the 8th inning. 5 runs, 11 hits, no errors for the Rays. 5 runs, 8 hits, no errors for the Blue Jays. 3-2 pitch, fouled off down the right field side. Moving over quickly, Mastriani to the bullpen mounds, and he goes up the mound, but the ball is just too far to the right. He can't make a play. Picks up the ball, hands it to a young Rays fan, and says hello to Balfour.
And that's right there is really the reason why you do not see too many more bullpens in the field of play anymore. Very difficult for an outfielder running full speed trying to catch a foul pop-up, and then you've got a pitcher's mound to deal with. And not only that, but an outfielder could get hurt chasing that down full speed.
So Luke set. The 3-2 pitch hit into the air into center field. Golfed it, so he didn't really hit it that hard. Waiting for it, Rasmus looks up into the roof, makes a catch, one away.
Center fielder, number 39, Kevin Kiermaier.
Kiermaier comes up here. We mentioned Wednesday he had his first professional grand slam. He's not a home run hitter, but he hit that one. He's also had a franchise record 2 triples in a game Saturday at Detroit. So a good man to keep off the bases in this situation. He takes strike 1. Here's someone who, if he gets on, he's an immediate threat wherever he is from first base on to score the go-ahead run. Lefty-lefty matchup. Luke set. He misses way outside. Kiermaier has hit his share of home runs as well. He's been in just 45 games. He's hit 8 home runs, including that grand slam. He homered in 3 straight games back at the end of June. A swing and a miss. Evan Longoria has done that a couple of times. They're the only rookies to do that. Longoria in his rookie year in 08, and here the rookie Kiermaier just about 2 weeks ago. There's a foul off to the left-hand side. Ball dropped by a fan in the upper deck. Then it dropped to the mezzanine where another fan dropped it. Now it's down in the lower seats where a fan has it. Kevin Kiermaier, for the injured Desmond Jennings, awaits the 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball, strike 3 called. What a pitch by Luke. Got him looking with that 77-mile-an-hour pitch. 2 down.
Right fielder, number 18, Ben Zobrist.
Aaron, Luke started that slider right at Kiermaier, the left-handed batter. As soon as he flinched and gave up on it, that breaking ball came right back over the inner part of the plate.
Two down. Bottom of the 8th inning. A 5-5 tie. Blue Jays were down 1-0 end of 1, ahead 3-1 end of 3, ahead 5-1 after 3.5. The pitch is low. Ahead 5-2 after 4, and then Sean Rodriguez parked a 3-run home run to left off Dustin McGowan with 2 walks aboard, issued by Dustin, with 2 outs in that 7th inning. Rodriguez with number 9 that tied it at 5, and we're in the bottom of the 8th inning here. 2 outs, nobody on. Zobrist takes a strike on the outside corner. It's 1-1. Chris Archer went 5, gave up 5 runs on 6 hits. Mark Burley went 5, gave up 2 runs on 9 hits. Both no decisions. The pitch is in there for a strike. Got a kick out of Chris Archer yesterday. He was asked about this game, this weekend, this series. He's starting it tonight. He went 5. He said, "It's huge, dude."
North Carolina boy, I believe.
And it is pretty huge. Here's the 1-2 pitch. It's low. This is going to be one of those games that the Blue Jays will certainly lament if they lose it.
Yes, they will. That's what happens with these games. And for the other side, the Rays, if they can come back and win that, it'll make up for that game that they gave away against Kansas City.
That is exactly right. So a pivotal game here toward trying to win a series, maybe even sweeping it. The ball fouled off down the right side. And the way the Blue Jays have played here over the years, they're desperately trying to just win 1 game and then maybe 2.
Yeah, you can For some reason, certain ballparks do that to you, but I wonder how much mentally it plays on you. I really don't think for the players it does play on mentally. I mean, the history, and you go way back at the record here, a lot of these players probably weren't even here, but recent history they have in their mind.
Pitch inside, 3-2. Blue Jays came here to start the season. Lost the opener to David Price 9-2, won the next 2 games. Lost the finale to Chris Archer. So he split it right down the middle. 3-2 pitch hit down the right field side. That's going to work its way to the foul pole, but foul. In that last game, Archer went 6 innings, gave up 2 runs on 4 hits. That's the game that Brandon Morrow, Esmail Rogers, and Jeremy Jeffers all pitched in, and they're all gone. The Rays won it 7-2. A 3-run home run in that game by Evan Longoria. That stretched the lead from 4-2 to 7-2, and that was your final. Full count pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. The inning is over. To the 9th we go. Grant Balfour appears to be coming in. The Blue Jays 5, the Rays 5. Brought to you by Home Hardware. This is the Sportsnet Radio Network. This is the Toronto area Ford dealers' 9th inning. Blue Jays 5, Rays 5. Grant Balfour comes on to start the 9th inning. And here is the veteran DH left-hand hitting Dan Johnson, who's walked 3 times here tonight and twice has come back to score. He takes outside ball 1. Casey Jansen, the Blue Jays closer, starts to warm up down the left field line. He'll face the Rays no matter what in the bottom of the 9th inning. So both managers trying to stem the tide here, have their closers contain the other team and send it into extra innings, if not win it. There's a pitch outside to Johnson. 2 balls and no strikes. Dan is 34. The A's made him a 7th-round pick back in 2001, 13 years ago, out of the University of Nebraska. He takes it low. Last year, Johnson was with AAA Scranton Wilkes-Barre. That's the Yankees AAA club. Played in 133 games. Hit 21 home runs with that AAA team. Had 17 with Buffalo before the break here. Last year at 253. And in Baltimore last year, played in 3 games. He went 0 for 5. Now Blue Jay. 3-0 pitch to him. High, ball 4. He's drawn 4 walks here tonight. And Balfour gets booed right out of the chute. Now, my partner Joe Siddle, between innings, he said it wouldn't surprise me if Grant Balfour walks the first hitter. You called it, partner.
Well, with a name like Balfour.
Well, Grant is in a fix here, and so are the Rays.
Well, you never want to walk that leadoff batter, especially in a tie ball game in the 9th inning. It's been an issue for Balfour all season. 25 walks in his 35 innings. He's been better lately. It was much worse earlier in the season. He's been improved. They've kind of almost gone to closer by committee. McGee has been closing some games out. He's away with paternity leave right now, having a baby today. His wife is.
There's strike 1 to Juan Francisco here in the top of the 9th inning. Balfour, in his last 12 appearances, has pitched to an ERA of 1.59. Johnson has just tied his career high.
August 10th, 2010.
In 2010, he did that with the Rays in Detroit, 4 walks. And he's trying to score for a 3rd time on this 4th walk. Francisco takes a strike, 0-2. Now Juan's hitting 9th, and he has struck out twice around a ground out to second. He's in a deep hole here again.
And Balfour, he'll average around 92 miles per hour with his fastball and pretty well a slider. 2-pitch pitcher out of the bullpen. As we said, he was closing a lot, but McGee, who's been jumping into that situation, is away for a couple of days.
Strike 2 pitch, swing and a miss. Strike 3, and Francisco for a 3rd time in 4 at bat strikes out.
Shortstop, Jose Reyes.
That was a fastball he just threw right by him.
Threw it right by him, and it looked like, I'm thinking Juan Francisco has to have the breaking ball in his mind now because he's been attacked by so many of them lately, figuring that that's the way they're going to put him away. Many teams have. Then they do go to the fastball, and it's by him.
Jose Reyes bats here in the top of the 9th inning. Blue Jays 5, Rays 5. Rays with 11 hits, Blue Jays 8. Johnson gets his lead. Reyes takes it low, ball 1. Jose's had a good night at the plate. He's had a good road trip. Tonight, 2 for 4, a single and run scored in the 3-run 3rd. And then in the fourth, a 2-run, 2-out single to right to make the lead 5-1 Blue Jays. On the road trip, he is 12 for 35. That includes a home run. Johnson a short lead. Reyes looks it over, ball 2, 2-0. Balfour. Reading his veteran catcher, Jose Molina. And cuts it loose. That's in there for a strike.
Walks were an issue for Balfour earlier in the season. He had walked 18 in his first 18 appearances. Now he's only allowed 7 walks over his last 18 appearances since May 24th. So he had a real rough start. When you're coming in late in ball games and giving free passes, that's not going to go over very well with your manager.
Balfour from Sydney, Australia. There's a line drive to right, base hit by Reyes. Up to second base. On his way to third goes Johnson. The ball's in the corner. Johnson held at third on a double by Reyes as the ball just now gets back to the infield. And Jose is 3 for 5.
A great piece of hitting right there by Reyes. It was the slider, but as a right-hander, that slider's coming down and into that lefty rake zone. It's called in baseball. He wanted to backdoor that pitch and throw it away. You can see the catcher, Jose Molina, wanted it out there. Came back over the middle to inner part of the plate. Reyes dropped the head and smoked it into right field. An outstanding job, though, by Ben Zobrist in right field, cutting that ball off. If that ball gets by him and to the wall, easily Dan Johnson scores from first base, but he cuts it off, gets it into his cutoff man. Third base coach Luis Rivera has to hold Johnson at third.
Now with Steve Tollefson coming up here, a good bunter. That's an option for manager John Gibbons. You've got runners at second and third, a 5-5 tie. Blue Jays and Rays here in the 9th inning with only 1 out.
Squeeze a possibility here. I don't know. See if John Gibbons thinks there's something like that with the infield drawn in.
Johnson at third, Reyes with his good quickness at second. And the pitch to Tollefson does not show bunt, takes strike 1.
Well, Steve Tollefson knows better than anyone on that field that he has to get a pitch that he can drive past this drawn-in infield, preferably something out over the plate. That was a first pitch slider from Balfour, but he'll probably try to pound that fastball in. As a pitcher, you're trying to jam the hitter here, not allow him to hit something hard past this drawn-in infield.
Tollefson up for his first time, had to replace the injured Munenori Kawasaki, who had to leave in the 7th with a right hamstring strain, is day-to-day. Back earlier in the game in the 4th inning, Nolan Reimold, running from second to third on a ground out to first, he had to leave with a left calf strain. He's day-to-day. So the Blue Jays have lost 2 starters here in the game tonight. Tollefson off the bench here trying to solve Balfour. The veteran deals. It's outside. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Interesting that the shift is still on despite the infield being in. Again, second baseman Logan Forsythe on the shortstop side of the bag. So most of the right side of the infield is open. If Tollefson can stay inside of something, just even throw a weak ground ball on this artificial turf toward where second baseman would normally play. James Loney, the only guy over there, the first baseman, playing off the bag.
Of course, with every pitch, Joe Madden might suspect the possibility of a bunt. Johnson down from third, quiet lead. Reyes at second. And Balfour set. And the pitch on the way. It's way outside, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike.
Also difficult to put the squeeze on to a guy who's having a little trouble finding the strike zone. If it was more of a command pitcher that you knew was going to throw a high percentage of strikes, the squeeze is not a bad option. In this situation, it might be a little risky with Balfour, not really around the strike zone.
2-1, favorable count for Tollefson. On deck, Melky Cabrera. Infield in, 3 infielders to the left side between the second and third base bags. At first, the lone holdover, James Loney. Balfour has always had a history of taking his time, and Molina's always had a history of going out to the mound, and the 2 shall meet right now.
And the 2 shall prolong this game, and Jose doesn't go out there too quickly, but they're going to have a conversation here, and the conversation is going to be this. Grant Balfour knows what he wants to throw in this situation. Jose Molina, I'm guessing, is disagreeing with his selection because in this situation, Jose may want to, for example, stay hard inside with the fastball to not allow Tollefson to get his hands out, get the bat head out front. I'm sure Balfour probably wants to go to the slider. We'll see who wins from this conversation and what Balfour goes to.
Of course, the bottom line for a pitcher, you better throw that pitch with conviction.
Absolutely. The ball is in your hand, but good for Molina to go out there, have that discussion at least, have a little dialogue. Not sure who's going to win here, but the most important thing is that the pitcher is 100% behind it.
Stretch. 2-1 pitch. Low, ball 3. So it's 3-1 on Tollefson.
And the further to this conversation now is, do you want to give in when you've fallen behind this hitter? This is the hitter you probably want, Steve Tollefson, with a hitter the caliber of Melky Cabrera on deck. However, if you do walk Tollefson and the bases are loaded, despite the caliber hitter on deck, you have a double play in order.
And behind Cabrera sits Jose Bautista. The stretch. Here's a 3-1 pitch. Strike 2 called.
That was not a good slider from Balfour. It really hung and stayed up high. But in that situation, it turned out good for him because that's not what Tollefson was looking for. Now Steve Tollefson has to really think the other way, let the ball travel, be able to cover the off-speed pitch, but you also have to put that fastball in play. Tough situation. You can't cover everything, but you have to be able to put this ball in play.
3-2 pitch. Foul back to the screen, and the battle continues. 17,533 having a good time here watching this one.
And this is a big situation for this crowd, too. That's a good approach right there by Tollefson. It was the fastball. He was short to the baseball, was able to get to it. That should give him the confidence to know that his approach right now is working. If you're on the fastball, then you know that you can be on the off-speed pitches as well by staying in the zone.
Balfour looks in, straightens up on the mound. 1 out. The 3-2 pitch. Hit the right field down the line. Dropping. Fair, a base hit. Johnson scores. Reyes scores. The ball picked up by Zobrist on the line. Tollefson back to first. He's got a 2-run bloop single to right. And the Blue Jays have a 7-5 lead here in St. Pete in the 9th inning.
And that's a bloop hit for Steve Tollefson, but it's an outstanding piece of hitting, a great approach. What is the approach? We saw it on the previous pitch. He was able to foul off the fastball because he stayed short to the baseball, making sure that he can cover stuff out over the plate and be able to think. Again, you're just thinking right center field right there. It doesn't mean that's where you're going to hit the ball, but Tollefson was able to just drop that in there, got it towards the end of his bat, but it's because of his approach was out there and he was staying on the baseball.
Tollefson with RBIs, 11 and 12. The batter, Melky Cabrera, still only 1 out, top of the 9th. The fastball is high. He earned that one.
Very good approach. It was a fastball, looked like off the plate away, but of course too close to take, so he's on it. That's probably a pitch you foul off most times. Tollefson was able to stay on it long enough just to get it off the end of the bat and drop it in the perfect spot.
There by about 1.5 feet down that right field line. Melky takes it very high, 2-0. Nobody warming up in the Rays bullpen, so Balfour has to fend for himself. And once again, for the umpteenth time, how did this crucial inning start? With a walk.
Imagine that. And that boy, Joe Madden, is really missing McGee in this situation. As I talked about, his wife giving birth today, so McGee's off on the paternity list. That's a new list now for Major League Baseball the last couple of years.
Melky takes high. Balfour not close. It's 3-0. And now the bullpen will start to get busy, and Joe's seen enough. Yates will start to warm up. That's the rookie, Kirby Yates. He's the one who gave up the 3-run home run to the Royals catcher Salvador Perez back here on Wednesday in the 9th inning as the Rays lost 5-4. A strike called. So this is the second situation here where the Rays could get that jolt from a 9th inning rally. They had the lead on Wednesday. Here they're not going to have the lead. They're down 7-5. We'll see if Kirby Yates comes on here sooner than later. 3-1 pitch, very high, ball 4, not close. And now 2 men on, only 1 out, and here comes Bautista, and here comes pitching coach Jim Hickey. So that means that Balfour is going to stick around for at least 1 more hitter as Yates warms up.
Kirby Yates warming in the bullpen. He was 16 for 16 in save opportunities in AAA this year. Usually you bring your closer up from the minor leagues, and he can handle situations. He had the unfortunate misgiving of that big home run to Salvador Perez and that loss to the Royals the other day.
That's a tough way to give up your first save of the year, even though the others were in AAA. This inning starts with a walk to Johnson. How about 4 walks for Dan Johnson in his debut as a Blue Jay?
And scored 3 runs.
Juan Francisco struck out. Then Jose Reyes shot a double into the right field corner, moving Johnson to third. That brought up Tollison, who battled pitch after pitch after pitch, and then looped a 2-run single to right down the line to bring in Johnson and Reyes for the lead. Now Melky walks right behind that hit, and Jose comes up here 1 for 3. A single to center his last time up. He also was chipped in with a sacrifice fly. Balfour's pitch. That's in there, strike 1. Balfour has not been able to command the fastball at all. He has thrown a few sliders for strikes.
Similar problems that Dustin McGowan had when he came in relief in the 7th inning for Brett Cecil. When you cannot command the fastball, you are in big trouble. You have to rely on that secondary pitch.
Jose swings and he missed 0-2. Casey Jansen has finished his warm-ups. He is going to come on and pitch in the bottom of the 9th inning. He was anyway, regardless of the score, but now a save opportunity for him, unless the Blue Jays stretch the lead to more than 3. Deanna Navarro is on deck. One veteran against another. From Sydney, Australia to the Dominican Republic, Balfour to Bautista. Jose slightly open stance. And Balfour ready. The strike 2 pitch. In the dirt, gets away from Molina. The ball squirts up along first base. Picked up in foul ground by Balfour. And on that wild pitch, the runners move up. That takes the Rays out of the ground ball double play situation. It also gives the Blue Jays, with 1 hit, a chance to cash in 2. Balfour has imploded here in this 9th inning.
He is really struggling, and that's what happens when you cannot command your fastball. He's mixed in a few sliders, some good, some not so good, but he has just really fought the strike zone all inning.
1 out. The 1-2 pitch outside. Infield in now for the Rays. Bautista with 53 runs batted in. He's sitting on 17 home runs. Jose trying to get a toe hold here. Open stance. Tollison at third. Cabrera at second. They take the lead. It's a pitch. Line to right field softly. Coming on Ben Zobrist. Coming on running. It bounces in front of him. Base hit. Coming in to score. Tollison to third. Melky. Back to first goes Bautista. And the Blue Jays tack on a precious extra run. Now leading the Rays 8-5.
Blue pit, yes. Cheap hit, yes. Good approach, absolutely. Again, a 2-strike approach by a Jays hitter, staying on the baseball. It was a slider from Balfour. Jose knows he's been struggling, but again, it allows him to stay on the baseball, keeps the bat in the hitting zone longer. When you do that, you're giving yourself a better chance. It pays off for the Jays.
And Joe, what's really hurt Balfour more than anything, 2 walks and a wild pitch.
Of course, and you're not going to have success when you come into a ball game tied in the 9th inning and walk that leadoff hitter. He was asking for trouble right from the beginning.
Bill Balfour booed off the field here in St. Pete. Kirby Yates comes on. Balfour just didn't have it. A long career. We mentioned from Sydney, Australia. He broke in with the Minnesota Twins back 13 years ago. His pitch with Minnesota, Milwaukee, the Rays first time around, 07 to 2010, and Oakland the last 3 years. And last year saved 38 games out there with the A's, but doesn't have it here tonight. So in this game, the Blue Jays with 3 in the 9th inning. He lead at 8-5. And as Yates starts to warm up, let's go back to Toronto. Here's Mike Wilner with the Sportsnet out of town. Thank you, Mike. Yates warming up here, getting ready for Deanna Navarro. The Blue Jays have struck for 3 here in this 9th inning. It's runs in clusters for the Blue Jays, down 1-0 end of 1. 3 in the 3rd inning. RBI singles by Kawasaki and Cabrera, followed by Bautista's sacrifice fly. 2 in the 4th on a 2-out, 2-run single to right by Reyes for a 5-1 lead. Then the Rays are running the 4th, 3 in the 7th. As Sean Rodriguez took advantage of 2 walks from Dustin McGowan with 2 outs and homered to left field, his 9th to tie it at 5. And now the Blue Jays get Dustin off the hook too, really, with 3 runs here in the top of the 9th inning. Steve Tollison, a bloop 2-run single to right, and now a bloop RBI single to right by Bautista.
Well, that's what it's about, is picking up your teammates. Dustin McGowan clearly had a rough night out of that Blue Jays bullpen. He's been pretty darn good, but big time for the offense to come back here and see if Casey Janssen can close this thing out.
So Navarro, 0 for 4, comes up here batting left-handed against Kirby Yates. And the stretch. Pitch on the way. That is outside, ball 1. Back to first base goes Bautista. 2 RBIs here tonight for Jose. Melky Cabrera's at third. Runners at the corners. Kirby made his Major League debut on the 7th of June against Seattle. 39th Hawaiian-born player in Major League history, first in Rays history. He pumps in a strike, 1 ball and 1 strike.
His fastball averages 92 miles per hour with the slider. He has an occasional changeup, but again, one of those 2-pitch guys pretty well out of his bullpen.
Now, Joe comes from a big family, 9, and the oldest and the youngest, what are their years?
Oh, geez. 65 and 47.
Okay, there's a strike call, so a 13-year difference. 18-year difference between the oldest and the youngest. The reason I mention it, Kirby Yates has a brother, Tyler, who's 10 years older, and you might remember the name. He spent 5 years as a reliever with the Mets, Atlanta, and the Pirates.
10 years older.
10-year spread there in that family between Tyler Yates and now his younger brother, Kirby. 1-2 pitch fouled off right-hand side. So, like the Yates, like the Siddles, huh?
And he's not afraid to give them up. When he does, it was only the 2nd career home run allowed when he gave up that home run to Salvador Perez. His first one came back in June against Baltimore's Nelson Cruz. So unfortunately for Yates, a couple big boys hit him off him.
Only 1 out. Blue Jays trying to get that runner home from third with less than 2 outs. The 1-2 pitch to Navarro, fouled off third base side. And even though it would take it out of a save opportunity if the Blue Jays score another run, John Gibbons needs the wins, and Casey Jansen's one of those who doesn't really regard statistics as meaningful as much as W's.
I think John Gibbons is going to win this game any way possible, especially in the manner they almost let this thing go. I think Casey Jansen's coming in this ball game no matter what happens here the rest of this inning.
And the pitch on the way, that's inside. And that so often happens. Munenori Kawasaki gets hurt just on a little ground ball up along first. He's tagged out, but strains his right hamstring. Who comes on for him? Steve Tollison. And who gets a 2-run single for the lead here in the 9th? Steve Tollison.
Isn't that something? It's a crazy game. Steve Tollison started this night on the dugout, probably had a little drink in hand, some sunflower seeds, not thinking he'd play a large part in the outcome of this ball game.
And then all of a sudden, get up and get out there. The Blue Jays have lost 2 players tonight who are day-to-day, Kawasaki and Nolan Reimold, with that left calf strain back in the 4th. Navarro takes it outside. DeHonor, last time up, hit into a short to first double play. He's trying to get home Cabrera from third. At first base, Bautista. Each team now with 11 hits, but the Blue Jays have the lead 8-5. The right-hander ready. There goes Jose. 3-2 pitch, fouled off, and back to first base will go Bautista.
Well, the Rays are very similar to the Blue Jays in many ways in the pitching categories. Both their starting rotations have done a pretty good job, top 5 or 6 in the American League, but both of their bullpens are in the bottom part, and that's showing here tonight, both sides.
Yates ready. And the 3-2 pitch, Jose goes. It's fouled off again, and Navarro making Yates work right here. Tomorrow, the Blue Jays will have a stiff challenge. We're on the air at 3:30 with our full pregame show. 4:10 Eastern first pitch. David Price, 8-7. Drew Hutchison, 6-7. Hutchison has won his 2 starts this year against Tampa Bay. Now, to do that, his ERA is 4.35. He's had good run support, but he's won both those starts. Price lifetime 14-2 against the Blue Jays in 18 starts. Navarro hits a fly ball into shallow right field. This will not do it for Melky. Coming in very shallow, bends over as he makes the catch. He throws to the plate where it's cut by Loney. Now, Navarro gave Yates quite a battle there, but he just couldn't close the deal.
A 10-pitch at-bat. Good job by Navarro. He gave him all he could handle. Unfortunately, could not get that ball deep enough to right field to get that runner home.
Right fielder, Darren Mastriani.
Mastriani came on for Reimold. He, too, has had an infield base hit. He's 1 for 2. Right-handed hitter against the right-hander Yates. 9th inning, 3 runs chased across to offset the 3-run home run by Sean Rodriguez off McGowan back in the 7th inning that quickly tied the game at 5. Ready is Yates. Mastriani takes strike 1. Casey will not have an easy assignment. In the bottom of the 9th inning, the Rays do have the 3, 4, and 5 hitters coming up. Brandon Geyer, Evan Longoria, and James Loney, and after that, Rodriguez. The stretch. The strike 1 pitch popped up into shallow right field. Zobrist is there for another one. He waits. He has it. The inning is over, but oh, what an inning. The Blue Jays get 3, and to the bottom of the 9th we go. The Blue Jays 8, the Rays 5. Brought to you by Home Hardware. This is the Sportsnet Radio Network. Have questions about the major leagues? You can send them online to sportsnet.ca/experts, and the answers can be heard on our Home Hardware Ask the Experts segment. That's every Friday during Baseball Central on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and Blue Jays Central on Sportsnet TV. Blue Jays 8, Rays 5, bottom of the 9th here in St. Pete. Tampa Bay's Brandon Geyer, center left fielder. He takes strike 1 from the right-handed reliever and closer Casey Jansen. Geyer is 2 for 4. A bunt single up along third and a ground ball single to center. Casey misses outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Evan Longoria to follow, and then James Loney. Last call here for the Rays. And the Jansen pitch. Strike 2 called inside corner. Casey in 21 games, 3-0. His ERA 1.35. 13 of 15 saving games, and in 20 innings, 13 strikeouts, only 1 walk. He's allowed 18 hits. The 1-2 pitch. Ground ball hit to short. Charged by Reyes. Gets a nice hop for himself. Throws it on to first. 1 down.
Number 3, Evan Longoria.
And that 1 walk by Jansen shows the tremendous command. He lives on the corners of the plate. That's where he's very good. Location, location, location. Casey Jansen throws 4 or 5 different pitches. Fastball, curveball, cutter, changeup, slider, and he mixes on both sides of the plate. But the one thing he does is he stays in the strike zone.
And Longoria up here takes just outside, ball 1. Evan, a sacrifice fly tonight. He's also walked and scored, and he struck out and flied out. So pretty productive 0 for 2 when you look at it. He takes a strike, 1 ball and 1 strike. 18 of Casey's 21 appearances this year have been scoreless. Working quickly here with Deanna Navarro. And the 1-1 pitch fouled off to the top of the screen. It'll ricochet into the crowd. Aaron Loup, a nice inning in the third of scoreless, hitless relief. 4 up, 4 down, 3 strikeouts. His game to win. Grant Balfour just coughed up 3 runs in the top of this 9th inning. His game to lose. And back comes Casey. Golfed into the air to right field. Waiting for it, Darren Mastriani looks up into the roof. 2 down. Here's Loney.
First baseman, number 21, James Loney.
When you go 1-6 on the road trip, which the Blue Jays currently are, that doesn't call a lot of need for a closer. Casey last pitched on Sunday. That was that game that the A's would win 4-2. Casey needed some work then. Loney, a left-handed hitter, fouls 1 back.
And it's not a lot of fun. I talked to Casey about that when we were in Anaheim, and it's just the part of the closer's role, and he knows that you're going to go through ruts where the team's not winning. You're not getting many save opportunities, but you still have to go out there and get your work in, stay sharp for situations like this.
He's pitched once on this road trip. Ground ball pulled to first, foul ball past George Hendrick, and it's 0-2. Thing about Casey, you'd never know it the way he pitches.
He doesn't, and that's one thing with him, because his command is so good with all of his pitches. Whether he pitches 3 days in a row or if he pitches once in a week, he's still pretty good. He's the same guy almost every time out.
Blue Jays 8, Rays 5, bottom of the ninth here in St. Pete. Nobody on. So Jansen trying to slip a pitch here by Loney, who's 0 for 3, and he's also walked and scored on the 3-run home run by Sean Rodriguez, who is on deck. Blue Jays, Casey Jansen cuts it loose. Ground ball to the mound. Off the glove of Casey. Ball rolls to the bag. Taken by Reyes. Throw to first. Ball game, Blue Jays. A hard-fought 8-5 win here in St. Pete as the Blue Jays in their house of horrors down here win game 1 of this weekend series.
Well, it's hard-fought because they almost let this thing slip away. Justin McGowan had his struggles coming out of that bullpen in the 7th inning, but the Blue Jays offense is able to come back, and it looks like they've had a bit of a revival now. Hopefully this lineup continues to score runs, and Casey Jansen doing his thing, closing this thing out.
So in 3 hours and 41 minutes, which is a shocker for any game that Mark Burley starts, the Blue Jays win it 8-5 as the Tampa Bay Rays lose their second straight in the 9th inning. The first one to Kansas City back on Wednesday on the home run by Sal Perez with 2 men on. And now here a 3-run shot by the Blue Jays, 2 in a tie ball game in the 9th inning here tonight. 8-5 Blue Jays, back with more right after this, brought to you by Home Hardware. This is the Sportsnet Radio Network. Field, oh, what a night for the Toronto Blue Jays as they score 3 in the 3rd inning to add 3-1, 2 in the 4th to make it 5-1. Then the Rays score a run in the 4th, 3 in the 7th on a home run by Sean Rodriguez to tie it up. And then the Blue Jays scored 3 in the 9th inning off Grant Balfour and win it 8-5. Casey Jansen with the save. So quite a night here for the Blue Jays, no question about it, as they win game 1 of this series with an opportunity to try to either win a series or even sweep it. That'd be unheard of, and win their first series here since April of 2007. Our post-game show is brought to you by your Honda dealers. For the victorious Blue Jays, 8 runs, 11 hits, no errors, and 7 left. The Rays, 5 runs, 11 hits, no errors, and 9 left. The winner out of the bullpen, Aaron Loop, he is 3-2. He also was one of 5 relievers used. Mark Burley went 5, gave up 2 runs on 9 hits. Casey Jansen, the last line of defense, saved number 14 in 16 opportunities. Casey with a 1-2-3 9th inning. The loser is Grant Balfour. He came on to start the 9th in a tie game, walked the first hitter, Dan Johnson, his 4th walk received here tonight. And then later, after a double by Reyes, Steve Tollison with a 2-run single to right for the lead. And then later, for good measure, Jose Bautista single homer run as well. Balfour falls to 0-3. 17,533 see the game that does take 3 hours and 41 minutes to play. So the final again, the Blue Jays 8, the Rays 5. The Blue Jays are 6-2 this year against the Tampa Bay Rays. On the road trip now 2-6 with 2 to play, 4-6 in July. And for a club that had lost 6 out of 7, they will definitely take this one toward the right direction of trying to gain some momentum before the All-Star break. Back with more right after this, brought to you by Home Hardware. This is the Sportsnet Radio Network. The Blue Jays, a lot of contributors. Blue Jays win at 8-5. Now tomorrow, first pitch is at 4:10 Eastern. David Price, lifetime 14-2 against the Blue Jays. Drew Hutchison, 6-7. 2 of those wins against the Rays in 2 starts. We're on the air at 3:30 with our full pregame show. And tomorrow, a key for the Blue Jays, but this was probably even more important, Joe, and you consider what Price has done against the Blue Jays over his career, 18 starts, those 14 wins. And if you have a chance to win a series here, you have to get past Chris Archer, and they were able to do that, plus the bullpen today, take their best shot at Price, and then go after the Rays with R.A. Dickey against Jake Odorizzi on Sunday afternoon.
Well, the first game of the series is so critical, and by coming away ahead tonight, they've got that first win under their belts. Now they can look at 2 games and try to win one of them. Of course, you'd love to win both, but David Price is not going to be easy tomorrow. If not, you've got Sunday to win the decider, but they'll give him a go. The issue right now is going to be the health of a couple of their players, both Kawasaki and Reimold leaving the game tonight. They can't be that shorthanded for these last 2 days.
And isn't it interesting to note, too, that when you look at David Price's situation here, with this loss tonight, that's back-to-back 9th-inning losses for the Rays. If the Blue Jays should beat Price tomorrow and sweep the Rays, the unthinkable on Sunday, that definitely begins to change the Rays' thinking, doesn't it, about David Price?
I think that puts David Price on the market in a hurry, and the Tampa Bay Rays, they're in a nice situation because if they play well and win some ball games, they're going to be back in it and go for it. If not, they're going to get a boatload of prospects for David Price because he's a hot commodity right now.
And that's what Andrew Friedman does so well here as our young GM. He gets a lot back from his acquisitions regarding trades. Billy Beane does the same thing out there in Oakland. Well, here tonight, The Blue Jays win just their second game on the road trip, but it's a big one. 8-5 over the Tampa Bay Rays. We'll see you tomorrow here at 3:30. Meanwhile, let's send it back to Toronto, and here's Mike Wellner.